One day you go
Total will continue to deliver excellent, exciting, innovative products and services that meet our needs and those of our cherished customers. All right, so it's a simple one. It says everything you put your hand, everything you put your hands, not everything you put your mouth. It is your hand. It's the work of your hands that he will bless. So the core of the song is not just a positive confession, feel good, charismatic gospel song, but essentially it's a call to actually doing stuff. Yeah, no what kind of hustle yours is, whether you are pushing a truck, you're driving a taxi, whether you are sawing wood, whether you are planting corn, whether you are teaching children, whether you are a clerk in a hospital. Everything you put your hand will work. It's a good prayer to pray. Morning. Maybe today you are just working in a mechanic shop. Every car I repair will work. You're a doctor in a hospital. Every patient I see today will live. Or maybe you're a teacher. Every student I teach today will get it. That success means different things for different people. And still concerning news from Turkey earthquake, over 3,500 people dead. Now, I don't even know how to imagine that. This is it's unfathomable. 3,000. Indeed, other reports, CNN is talking about 4,300 people. I believe they're adding the other version, the Syrian one. But it is crushing. And then various news portals are still reporting that Christian Achu is not being found. So yesterday there was some, you could call it some false hope that he had been rescued and that he was injured. But look, we made a contact to the Ghana the Ghana embassy in Turkey, and what we have been told was that the search is still going on. So the news has not changed, although at some time in the evening it was suggested that he had been found. When we called up the ambassador, what she said was that there hasn't been an update yet. More personnel have been deployed to intensify search at Kahramanmaraş City. Kahramanmaraş. Kahramanmaraş. You are a football guy. You know these things.
It is more geography than football.
Okay. So this is what the ambassador said to us, that they are still searching.
Yes.
We wanted to be sure. You know, some of these things, news portals, journalists, we spoke to a couple of journalists, but we called the embassy. And the embassy will know, because the embassy will definitely be in touch with authorities.
Certainly.
What she said to us was that more personnel has been deployed
for the search. Yes, very sad story.
Yeah, and a magnitude 7.5 earthquake. I wish I had the words to describe what a magnitude 7.5 means, because this morning I told us a 5.0. The kind of things we feel in Ghana, 4 point something, we've never really hit the 7s and the 8s in recent times.
No, if you hit those ones, you have an earthquake, not a tremor.
That's my point. So 7.5 is really big, and different versions of the story. So for example, DW is reporting over 3,500 people in Turkey and Syria killed. But if you go to CNN, they are putting the death toll as more than 4,300.
Okay.
And let me read their version. And some of the photos, Godfred, like massive, you know, those of us sometimes who live in full concrete houses, you know, if there's an earthquake-prone zone, I really think we need to have a conversation about what kind of building materials to use. Because like having a wooden building, chances of, like Japan, they know that they are earthquake-prone, so they will do buildings out of wood. But here we use we do like people are
building in a very specific way.
Yeah, but here like you go to the new developing areas, like it's like concrete, like double reinforced concrete. That is good in the sense that maybe the earthquake will not bring it down, but if it comes down, do you get me? So either you build. So there are two things. You either build so strong that the earthquake will not. So like you can do, you know how they do their foundation, they do the electrical, the metal, the mesh, and then they do double reinforced concrete. So that one can be earthquake resistant, right? So if you're in McCarthy Hill or some of these earthquake prone areas, you want to do that. Or you just build with material that you know that, Charlie, if the thing fall on you, you just dust yourself and get up. Because imagine the building that we are told he was in the middle floors, like 15 floors or something.
Oh, yes.
I mean, even a 3-story building, if it collapses, you're in trouble. They're talking about 15 floors.
Well,
so
it's just continues.
Yeah.
Bernard.
So let me read the CNN version to start. It's more than 4,300 people have died, and rescuers are racing to pull survivors from beneath rubble after a devastating earthquake ripped through Turkey and Syria, leaving destruction and debris on each side of the border. One of the strongest earthquakes to hit the region in a century shook residents from their beds around 4 a.m. That's the other problem.
Yeah, Monday.
4 a.m. So that means more people are home. If it was at noon, it's more people at work. 4 a.m. on Monday, sending tremors as far away as Lebanon and Israel.
Yes.
In Turkey, at least 2,921 people were killed and more than 15,800 others injured. And they are talking about different levels of injury.
Yeah.
According to Turkey's head of disaster service, Yunus Sezer, in neighboring Syria, at least 1,451 people have died. According to Syrian state news agency, 711 people have died across government-controlled areas, mostly in the regions of Aleppo, Hama, Latakia, and Tartus.
These are areas that are already suffering.
Yeah. And the White Helmet Group, officially known as the Syria Civil Defense, reported 740 deaths in opposition-controlled areas. So if you put that together, 1,400. And these are also places of biblical significance. So like if you look at the map, the epicenter, it's not too far from Mosul on your right, Damascus on your south. Right? So there's Cyprus, Syria, Turkey. We spoke to a correspondent in Ankara. Ankara did not feel the quake.
No, not at all.
So this is more the eastern parts of Turkey.
Yes.
So please, if you are praying, pray for people in Turkey and Syria that they will have mercy. 6.7 Richter scale. And also Christian Achu has not been found still. That's the information we have. So that's where I started from.
All right.
That's where we started from.
And that story makes it to the front page of the Daily Graphic. Also on the front page of that paper, Galamsey has not gone away. Illegal miners block. Now they've blocked Birim River. Destroy hectares of farmlands. The Galamsey thing.
So is it that we don't know where they are, we don't know what they are doing? Is it that we don't have people? Because I mean, I go to, and I don't want to make it sound like we are in a military state. You go to Burma camp, people are sitting there. Just that you have, like, we are paying soldiers so much money, and you have people blocking rivers, destroying the river, and you are just sitting down and they're like some minister announced last week that, like Coco Bot said, what did he even say?
Yeah, they said we'll not have water.
Yeah, like, why are you telling me? Go and tell the president. Why are you putting it in the graphic? What should I do about that? Should I go to the church and go? Just that.
All you can do.
You are the guy in charge of Cocoa Board. Cocoa is your second largest export earner. People have blocked rivers, and you're sitting there crying. You're telling me in the graphic. Like,
you're taking me back to
seriously
the report, the special report on Galamsey. Vivian went.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clear.
Media is telling you. I don't understand. Anyway, you go on. I'm not.
On your new property rate rollout, the GRA and MMDAs are targeting 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. Reverend Dr. Amishada Usuamu, Commissioner General of the GRA, is on the front page. Hey, he's still a post, okay?
Yeah.
Provide opportunities for growing population. Former President Obasanjo to African leaders, which reminds me, Reverend Amishada, GRA CD10.
Mm-hmm. He's still doing that.
He's been speeding down. Someone saw him on the Zoti Road.
Driving very badly.
Strobe lights on.
Not the devil of a GRA
CD10 car.
Bringing the uniform into disrepute.
I don't know who was in the car. I don't know where they are going, but there's no way GRA officer puts on strobe lights in the morning.
What time of the day?
In the morning.
Going to collect money from one of the shopping malls.
At 5:30.
Anyway, let's go to the Ghanaian Times front page. DDEP, government heads to finish line and appeals to all to contribute to economic recovery. Also, consensus needed for economic progress. This is Kojopo Nkrumah speaking to clergy. President Kufuor extends Ghana's condolences to Turkey and Syria following the earthquake. Christian Achu trapped under rubble after Turkey earthquake. MMDAs pay over 499,000 Ghana cedis to contractors for no work done. And on the back page, I was telling you about this, Bernardino. The Yendi Hospital gets ultra-modern emergency trauma center. But as far as we know, equipment needed for the center to run is stuck at our ports. Yes, but that's on the back page of the Ghanaian.
The building is ready, but the equipment is here.
Yes, last we checked from CNR, yes, that was the situation.
I'm sure there's an update, yeah.
Anchor newspaper. The MPP flag bearer race is on the front page, but date for contest is in limbo. I have no hand in Galamsey. This is the Deputy Defense Minister. He says he's going to protect his name. The deputy gender minister has been exonerated by Shraj on the conflict of interest petition. Tuna shortage hits Tema. 1 month
Tuna
after
shortage
closed season. Yes. So if you're a lover of tuna and you're
it's more for the exports industry for tuna. It's a huge industry there.
Yeah, and then police inspector interdicted for handcuffing man over 2 Ghana cedis appeal debt.
Sorry.
All right.
All right. The Chronicle front page, IMF talks have boosted recovery efforts, says Kenneth Oriata. Kojo Nkrumah speaking to clergy, we need consensus for our economic progression. President Kufuor and John Mahama pray for Achu. And the Vice President and MPs travel to Salaga on commercial bus. We saw these images floating around.
I think they should institutionalize it.
It's a nice little image, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also,
but did they drive from Accra?
It doesn't matter.
There was a bus somewhere along the line.
Sit in the bus. It will help to cut us, to save us.
No, but if you go from the Tamale airport, sit in the bus from Tamale airport to the funeral grounds, it's normal.
It's better than
But I'm asking whether it's
not normal. Tamale to Salaga is not that short.
I've not said it's short.
Salaga is far.
I've not said anything else.
Well, maybe they flew to Tamale, then got on the bus, which is even better than the V8s.
That's the point. Like if if there are like 40 MPs driving 40 V8s from Tamale to Salaga, do you know how much petrol they are burning?
Yeah, it's an admission of how well the dam. I wanted to know where. Oh,
okay.
And I'm saying Tamale Salaga, wow.
Why are they?
They should continue. I think we should add it to the reforms.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a bit. But the scripture, Psalm 20, verse 7 to 8. Some boast in chariots and some in horses.
But you don't always have to read. You have to only read it when it relates to the story.
But it relates. It says some boast in chariots and some in horses.
This one is just a normal scripture.
There are MPs in a bus. It says some boast in chariots, some boast in horses.
This one,
but we will boast in the name of the Lord.
You are stretching it.
No, it's actually accurate. It's actually accurate. But the Daily Guide and the ABC News share similar front pages. There are 2 issues.
What are they saying?
Yeah, all of them are worried about Kusana.
But are they saying he's been? You see, people,
no.
You know,
everybody says
people keep telling me based on news portals that he's been found. I'm saying, we are a news house, so we only report what has been confirmed. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying different things, and you just let's be patient.
Yes,
if he's found, we'll have his picture. I'm sure those who are close to him will let us know. So let's just relax.
Yes. All right. The New Crusading Guide front page. Intensify corruption fight. CDS charges government and stakeholders. Also, Galamsey fraud. Court adjourned, Charles Bissu's case against the OSP and ANAS. And there are other stories on the front page of the New Crusading Guide.
Finally, from me, Bernard, the front page of the Graphic Business. Banks' profitability to suffer again. This is because of the DDE program. Ghana's energy security threat. Is gold for oil the solution? Is a question that the paper is asking. And deal or no deal? $3 billion IMF conundrum. There's a photo of Ken Oforiatta looking very pensive.
Okay, I've got a couple more. The Finder front page. Let's avoid further strain on economy. Oforiatta rallies all bondholders to join DDEP. In Siriwa to support 2,500 rice and soya farmers. And President Kufuor approves the NHIA free elderly care policy. Then finally, Economy Times. Government misses fiscal deficit target. Banks make losses in 2022. And IMF bailout to be ready before the end of the first quarter.
Let's go online, citynewsroom.com. Terrorists won't capitalize on Boku situation to infiltrate Ghana. This is the MP, Mahama Ayariga. He also says the minority will have a peaceful transition today, or an orderly transition. Now, as you know, on City Newsroom, Parliament reconvenes today. And then the Finance Minister says no more extension as debt exchange deadline expires today. And then he says, Ken also says non-participation will prolong efforts to revive the economy. So a lot on the debt exchange in the news. MyJournline.com will continue to converge there until we are exempted. This is Dr. Edwin Anentwi, a pensioner, individual bondholder, says so. Now, here's something you knew, but it's been confirmed. Accra to motorway no longer fit the definition of motorway. National Road Safety Authority.
We've said it for
but now they
5 or 6 years.
It's now official. Now, 40 Ejura man students injured in dining structure collapse. This campaign on educational facilities that you've been doing, I think one day you should put all of them together. It's a lot, too. So at the facility they were having dining, or they were eating, then the thing collapsed on them. 40 people. It's serious. Now, and then here's another one. Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital offers free treatment to former NSMQ shark. That story is also troubling there. City Business News has 5 important things you need to know about after. If I have time, I will tell you about that. City Sports says Christian Achu still under rubble after Turkey earthquake. Now, this is according to the Hataya Sport vice president. So we're quoting his team. And then, of course, Mahama, Akufo-Addo, others pray for Achu. Over 2,000 people perished in Turkey earthquake. The number has risen significantly. And indeed, as I read, globally, newspapers are talking about the earthquake. Let me take you to East Africa briefly. Kenya's public debt has crossed $72 billion. We can compare that to Ghana. And Nigeria is gearing up for the election in probably 2.5 weeks. Yes. And some of their newspapers are talking about the various issues ahead of the election. Now, there's a lot of problems in Nigeria. There are new Naira notes. 13 political parties have threatened to pull out of the election if the deadline is extended. The APC states, now this thing about this is the APCs in government. 3 APC states sue federal government over scarcity of new Naira notes. Right? And then the court is also ordering the Central Bank of Nigeria to stick to February 10 validity date for old Naira notes. So it's like chaos. They're trying
over the weekend, a lot of people are struggling to access money.
There are some things you see in other countries and you wonder, what is going on? Like people are in banks waiting for $40 equivalent for 2 days. Anyway, so we've given you the Christian Achu story already.
Yeah.
Let's go to DDEP, some highlights.
All right,
Today's deadline.
Yeah, in the Ghanaian Times, government heads to the finish line and appeals to all to contribute to economic recovery. So the government has appealed to domestic bondholders to sign up to the Enhanced Domestic Debt Exchange Program, or DDEP, as the deadline is today. According to the Minister of Finance, the participation of all individuals and groups is crucial for the country's economic recovery, backed by an approved IMF program. He said, frankly, non-participation or a lower than expected turnout for the DDEP will prolong efforts to resolve the current economic crisis. In addition, the prospects of international financial support and other financial assurances would be jeopardized. This development could further put strain and stress on the government's capacity to honor key commitments. This is not what we want for our economy. Now, this was in a statement signed by the Minister of Finance yesterday. He said, let every Ghanaian be encouraged that the DDEP will bring us to a place of stability, economic recovery, and transformational growth.
He says non-participation will prolong efforts to revive the economy. Minority is saying that the Vice President and the Finance Minister, have failed in IMF negotiation, and they're asking them to call for more help. Governor Kwame Agboja, who is the new chief whip, was speaking to media men yesterday, and he says that the pair must fall on expertise of others for a successful fund support. Now, we'll see. Let the deadline of the DD expire and let's see if the 3 billion can
The graphic business is also dealing with that story on banks' profitability. Charles Benonyokai writes that players in the financial service sector have said the profitability of banks who signed on to the government's domestic debt exchange program will severely contract this year. According to them, the impact of the introduction of mark-to-market, a prelude to the DDP, had already dealt severe damage to their books, so they fear a worse situation this year once banks sign onto the program. So, for instance, there's a code here that says our profit after tax was 3.9 billion Ghana cedis at the end of December 2022. There's a continuation of that story on page 6.
Well, we know that their capital will be impaired, their profit will be affected, and a lot of that is also due to the DDE. And I guess if you go to the Economy Times as well.
Same story. Banks make losses in 2022. Their profitability levels have declined sharply due to the mark-to-market losses on investments, higher impairments on loans, and rising operating costs. And it has some of the same figures.
They should give more loans to people who are starting their company.
Well, MMDAs and the GRA,
let's get into that one.
They say they are targeting 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. This is as part of the new property rate roll out.
The one that is
yes, they have collected data. So the list and details of more than 8.7 million properties codified into the unified common property rate platform, also known as assembly.gov.gh, to enable property owners to verify their rates and pay same, come with the evaluations, owners, and other details. However, 76 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies have provided the rates or levies for the various properties, which will form the basis for the first phase of the end-to-end district revenue collection administration platform designed to enhance the collection of and accounting.
This is a story we are very interested in, and we will deal with that. Let's still
continue.
continue.
Speaking of MMDAs, yes. So a performance audit report says that they paid over 499,000 Ghana cedis to contractors for no work done. Now, this was 21 of the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. This amount was discovered during an Auditor General's assessment. So this was between 2018 and 2021. The coordinating directors, finance officers, and the works engineers who recommended and approved the payments are to recover the money, else they will fund it themselves, according to the report.
Let's go to the Birim River.
Yes, on page 13 of the Daily Graphic, illegal miners have restricted the free flow of the Birim River on the outskirts of Achimabuabo to enable them to carry out their outlawed activities. During a tour of the spots between Achimwenchi in the Denchembo district and Oda, where the river course has been diverted and narrowed, this was on Friday, it was clear that large tracts of land along the river had been destroyed by the illegal miners who were carrying out their activities, also known as Galamsey, with impunity. The Daily Graphic team found that many cocoa and oil palm farms had been destroyed without giving any compensation to their owners. Although the team did not meet anyone on site, it saw some excavators, which, according to a source, had been abandoned, while security personnel had demobilized others. When the Daily Graphic contacted the Odan Divisional Police Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Reverend Samonyameche Adani Ameyao, he confirmed the invasion of the area by illegal miners. He said the division had mobilized policemen to undertake an operation in the area.
All right. Well, let's talk about the bus that's making it to the front page of the Chronicle. The Vice President and MPs traveled to Salaga on commercial bus. So Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and some members of Parliament and the national leadership of the ruling New Patriotic Party yesterday abandoned their cozy vehicles, including the highly comfortable V8s, to board a commercial bus to Salaga. They were attending the funeral of the late Alhaji Jaula in Salaga in the Savannah region. Now, some of the MPs were the Majority Leader, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, Frank Anodompre, our friend in Nsom, Kennedy Osei-Nyako, Sheila Bartels was in there, Farouk Mahama, Hassan Tampuli. I mean, the list goes on
Wouldn't
and
it be
on.
nice if for funerals and for visits, like collective visits like this, they all joined buses?
Yeah,
Save us a lot of money.
it would.
I wanted to give you a couple of African stories, and then I'll come back to the Christian Achu because a new development there, which Godfred is trying to confirm.
Yes, so let me just get to that right now for you. So, the original story as it emerged was put out by Yagis Sabonchoglu.
Who is that?
Yeah, he's a Turkish journalist. So everybody who first reported that story basically took the story from
him.
And now, about 5 minutes ago, he's again tweeted that I just had another. He's quoting the Hataya Sport manager. Says they found Christian Achu.
Wonderful.
He's been taken to hospital.
So the journalist who did the original tweet,
yes,
has come to say he has spoken to Achu.
Yes. Now it's important that I emphasize him because yesterday, when a lot of the British press were putting out stories that he had been found, he came back again and said it wasn't confirmed.
Now he's saying he has spoken to him.
Yes. No, to the club president.
To the club president.
Yes. And he has confirmed that Achu has been found.
We thank the Lord for this. Now, just want to give you a quick wrap of African issues. So, for example, South Africa has 100 days of blackouts.
Yeah,
guys, like
that,
I was reading a report from the UN on Africa. Charlie Ghana with the trial. She said plenty. But let me just give you a couple of headlines. So, South Africa, country has endured a worst bout of power cuts as Eskom flounders. Central Bank reduces their growth forecast to 0.3%. So the economy will grow less than half of a percentage. So South Africa is nearing 100 consecutive days of rolling blackouts, the longest stretch yet, with more to come as the crisis deepens. Now, I don't think even in 2014 we had 100 days of blackouts. That's South Africa, right? Then in Nigeria, three governors. I don't think it was 100 consecutive days.
Well, not consecutive.
They were doing
But
a
it was like
this guy's like 100 days.
Like day and night, nothing.
No. That's what's happening.
Or like
because
load shedding.
I work a South African schedule.
Okay, so explain how it's going.
So they've also got calendars with different levels of intensity. So you could do 2 hours, you could do 8 hours, you could do 12 hours.
Okay, fair enough. Now, we're also told there's a chaotic cash shortage forcing Nigerians to wait hours for the equivalent of $43. Now, some of these stories are like, I don't believe it. So if you, and three...
Why don't you believe it?
3 Nigerian governors have sued their own party government.
Yes.
Asking the court to suspend the plan. Nigerians are waiting in long queues to withdraw cash at banks. I'm reading this from Bloomberg. Nigeria's demonetization plan is causing a schism within the ruling APC. 3 state governors from Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara, which are traditional strongholds of the party in the north, all belonging to the ruling party, sued the federal government seeking the suspension of the central bank's plan that has caused a cash crisis and disrupted transactions in Africa's largest economy. Okay, so that's Nigeria. Let me take you to Kenya. I'm just trying to give you a sense of what's happening in other parts of the world, so you know that, Charlie, nowhere cool.
Baby Andrew.
As Manifest will say, Kenya's public debt stock crosses $72 billion. Now, Kenya's stock of public debt crossed the $72 billion mark for the first time in December, pushing the country closer to hitting $80 billion ceiling set by Parliament in June. This at a time a weak Kenyan shilling has piled pressure on the country's external debt, representing some 69.3% of foreign debt denominated in US dollars. And then the public debt is going to increase, and they are giving us the history of this. And then President Ruto is facing a fiscal deficit of $5.6 billion in his first budget, which will force Parliament to raise the debt ceiling for the second year running to keep borrowing within the limits of the law.
Well, let me bring you back to Ghana. Two quick local stories, political. So the Minority Caucus yesterday met the leadership of the party for a meeting, and the quote that has come out says, "We are behind new leadership. Minority Caucus assures." We'll see how that works in practice. You find that story on page 18 and on page 19. And Chamatin's been very busy.
Yes.
He's touring the country, speaking to NPP delegates. So he's done the Bunu East. And
You start few.
Charlie, I was about to say, we haven't heard from the other
and the other point, you see, the paper. So the anchor is basically saying that the race is interesting because the date for the contest is not yet known. All right. So he's resigned and he started campaigning. Some of them have not resigned, so they have to combine this with work. So, like Vice President, for example, is still working. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So according to the anchor, MPP Flagbearer race hot sappers 10 declare bids, but date for contest still in limbo. Story on page 2, and I think it's a story we need to sort of keep
an eye on.
It says the chairman of the Council of Elders in a recent interview admitted that the decision to accommodate the 17 aspirants at the time was a major mistake. This is the 2007 edition. Where I told that about 10 MPP people have already joined the race, and it mentions Alan Kay, Dr. Baumia, Kennedy Ejepong, Kwabene J. Ejepong, Francis Adaini Mo, Dr. Owusu Efri Akoto, Joe Gate, Boachie Jakon, and Kofi Kunedo Apreku, and then somebody called Kwejo Nsafwa Poku, an energy expert.
Okay.
He's also joined. He's wearing a bow tie.
Very quickly, on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Yendi Hospital gets ultra-modern emergency trauma center. Again, this center was built by Global Missions and Mission 318. It's a Chicago-based charity in the United States. They also collaborated with the Office of the Member of Parliament for Yendi, Alhaji Farouk Aliyu Mahama. They inaugurated the facility. Now, when our colleague Alabira reported on this for CNR, they noted that the equipment that is supposed to be for the hospital, right, has been donated as well, shipped from the USA, held up at the port because they were charging duty on it. Apparently, in the past, they have been given waivers because this NGO has been supporting them for years. But for some reason, with this shipment, no one knows what happened. They were being asked to pay in excess of 100,000 Ghana cedis. They said, well, we can't pay that, and we don't see why we should. It's a donation. We don't do this with other countries. It's only Ghana that is asking us to pay.
Okay.
A container was held up at the port, ended up being auctioned to the hospital. People cannot pay.
The poor people, they know the book.
So, Charlie,
we'll try and get into this, but I wanted to just give you.
Even do that with national team jerseys.
Yeah. Let me just give you the final one. So I'm going back to citynewsroom.com and the story that you just read. Turkey earthquake, Christian Achu pulled out alive, and I'm just reading the story. Black Stars winger Christian Achu has been rescued after he was trapped under rubble in a huge earthquake, according to reports. Yagiz Sabunkoglu, a Turkish journalist who was keenly following the developments since Monday. Choglu reported on Tuesday that Christian Achu has been pulled from the wreckage alive. And then he tweets in Turkish, Christian Achu, Enkazen Kanli Olorak Tikradil.
Good news has never sounded so good.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's the word. Enkaden Kanli Olorak Tikradili. It means Christian Achu lives. Powerful.
That's good.
See that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how's your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy.
ever so convenient. We now accept Momo for fuel purchases. Just remember to Momo it at Goil. You can also use your bank card and all bank cards to buy fuel at Goil. Drive to the nearest Goil station, buy fuel, and pay by Momo bank card or Go card. Visit our social media platforms for more information. Goil Good Energy. The news is also brought to us by MTN. Now, is your SIM card registered? Please dial *400# now to check your status. Now, if you are fully registered, you can see the following. Your name appears on your national ID. Unique code is there with a set of alphanumeric digits unique to you and a B cap with the word yes. Now, visit any MTN service center today to get your biometric details captured if you do not see B cap with the word yes on it. Let's work together to enable you use your MTN number. Don't forget, you get 1 gig of free data valid for 7 days if you register your MTN SIM. Michael Ogbodu is clearing his throat. He has a lot of news this morning.
Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Goil, Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, more than banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. Coming up, government announces there will be no further extension of domestic debt exchange program deadline. Meanwhile, pensioner bondholders forum to continue picketing at the finance ministry till government exempts them from the expected haircuts. Also, Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT absorbs itself from blame for the low level of pensions of some beneficiaries of the scheme. Now to details of our stories, and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has hinted that there will be no further extensions for the registration of individuals onto the domestic debt exchange program beyond the deadline today, Tuesday, February 7. He is thus calling on domestic investors to sign up to help the government make progress with restoring the economy. The deadline has been rescheduled 4 times in a row with an introduction of new terms and a final exchange memorandum. Addressing the nation on the eve of the deadline, Mr. Ofori-Atta was concerned that if the program does not yield its intended result, it could prolong the efforts by government to revive the economy.
On the back of these recent developments, the comprehensive agreement of the key stakeholders and the enhancement of the DDEP, Government 1 expects the full participation of institutional stakeholders and mobilization of all qualified investors to ensure the success of the debt exchange operation. And 2, encourages eligible individual holders to voluntarily tender their holdings. Frankly, fellow citizens, non-participation or a lower than expected turnout for the DDEP will prolong efforts to resolve the current economic crisis. In addition, the prospects of international financial support and other financial assurances will be jeopardized. Tomorrow is the final deadline for this program, and we are hopeful that all domestic investors will participate. Let me restate that as a government, our singular motivation for taking this rather difficult road is to restore macroeconomic stability, achieve debt sustainability, and get the economy fully back on track. We know that these are necessary preconditions for creating jobs, safeguarding and enhancing incomes, fostering inclusive growth, and restoring hope to Ghanaians.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Meanwhile, the Pensioners Bondholders Forum say they will continue to picket at the Finance Ministry till government exempts them from the domestic debt exchange program. The pensioners, numbering about 100 yesterday, picketed at the Finance Ministry demanding a total exemption. They say government will make life unbearable for them if it goes ahead with the program. Here are some of the pensioners speaking to Citi Business News.
I was told by my 2 banks that it's the safest, and I work hard and save and bought government bond. And what we're saying is that total exemption, nothing less, nothing more.
It's the only term we understand. Total exemption. You've exempted pensioners, you've exempted pension funds. We are pensioners. We say we'll be here tomorrow, so come and interview us tomorrow.
We will sleep here with our mats and our coal pots. We'll come and sleep here. That the investment I made is what I used to buy my drugs.
You hear there's Sam pensioners speaking to Citi Business News. Now, away from that, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, has absolved itself from blame for the low pensions of some beneficiaries of the scheme. This comes after various stakeholders, including the Africa Center for Retirement Research, have bemoaned the amount paid as minimum pension in the country. But the scheme in defense says pensioners can only receive payments based on their contributions. The rest of the story is in this report. Earlier this year, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, in consultation with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, in line with Section 80 of the National Pensions Act 2008, Act 766, indexed monthly pensions upwards by 25% for the year. Per the increment, all pensioners on the SNIT pension payroll as at 31st December 2022 will have their monthly pension increased by a fixed rate of 19% plus a redistributed flat amount of 73 cedis 58 pesos. The effective increase in pensions would therefore range from about 19% for the highest earning pensioner to almost 44% for the lowest earning pensioner. Accordingly, the highest earning pensioner as of 31st December 2022 will receive almost 170,000 Ghana cedis per month, while the lowest earning pensioner as of December 31st, 2022, will have his or her monthly pension increased from 300 Ghana cedis to 430.58 Ghana cedis in 2023. But some stakeholders aren't too impressed with the last updates from SNIT. The Africa Center for Retirement Research insists there must be a further upward adjustment in the minimum pensions payable to low contributing pensioners. The center indicated that the figure is too small to sustain any pensioner in the current economic conditions. But SNIT insists it's only playing by the books. Dr. John Ofori-Tenkran is the Director General of the pension scheme.
The Pensions Act is very clear. In fact, Section 77 of Act 766 is very clear on what people's entitlements, pension entitlements, should be when they go on pension.
The DG further encouraged the public to make the effort to contribute significantly to the scheme if they hope to receive substantial pensions during their retirement.
If you know that if you contribute and come and ensure the incomes that you are legitimately earning, and when you go on pension, this is what you're going to get, then you will focus on making sure that you are coming to ensure all your earnings instead of trying to game the system and get the absolute barest minimum. And then when you go on pension, come and complain that your pension is small and then take advantage of some artificial minimum that SNIT may have set some time ago.
Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tenkran, ending that report. Now moving on, the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana are lamenting the recent increment of the monetary policy rate by the Bank of Ghana to 28%. The association explains that its members heavily rely on commercial banks for access to financial capital. Thus, the rise in the interest rates by the banks will hamper the smooth running of their operations. Speaking to Citi Business News, President of the association, Dr. William Idum-Ado, said if the hikes continue, the prices of pharmaceutical products in the country will be negatively affected.
For every business institution, your main headache, apart from the cost of the product, is your overhead. And most of us rely on the banks heavily for financing. So once the policy rate goes up, definitely the interest rate will also go up from our banks. Whenever the policy changes like this, it definitely affects your overhead cost. And definitely it's not a pleasant thing. And the cost of doing business also goes up. And it affects even the kind of imports you can do because you need more money to do all these imports. So once your overhead cost also goes up, then you have to have some balancing act in place to stay afloat. So once the highs goes like that, definitely it's going to affect prices in a way. But we just hope that because the cedi is a bit stable now, it may not affect it much. But should it change, I pray it changes for the better. But if it becomes worse, then definitely, and the interest rates also remain that high, then definitely it's going to hit the prices.
That was the president of the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana, Dr. William Idum-Ado. Now, on the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 10 cedis 80 pesos. The British pound, which lost 7 pesos, is selling at 12 cedis 99 pesos. The euro lost 1 peso and is selling at 11 cedis 6 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus in the capital, the dollar is selling for 12 cedis 35 pesos, while the British pound is selling at 15 cedis 5 pesos and the euro for 13 cedis 15 pesos. Let's now join Mark Jordan Sikanate of Data Bank for the latest updates on the bonds market.
The Ghanaian Treasury issued 1.95 billion Ghana cedis of the 91-day and the 182-day bills at last Friday's money market auction, exceeding the gross target by approximately 37%. At the close of the auction, the 91-day yield increased to 35.75%, whilst the 182-day yield increased to 35.81%. The 364-day yield stayed at 35.81%. On the Ghanaian secondary bond market, trading activity remained as the total turnover declined 27.8% week on week to 689 million Ghana cedis. The Data Bank Bond Index slipped to 80.84 points, translating into a year-to-date loss of 0.52%.
That was Mark Jordan Sikanate of Data Bank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Goil, Enterprise Life, Your Advantage, Access Bank, More Than Banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Ubudu. Thank you for listening. Have a good business day, and as always, please stay safe.
Rescued from earthquake rubble. Asante Kotoko thrash Accra Lions to go second in the Ghana Premier League, and Leeds United sack Jesse March in the EPL. Let's get into the details now. And Turkish journalist Yakiz Sabunçoglu has confirmed that Ghanaian winger Christian Atsu has been found alive after being pulled from earthquake wreckage. Now, the Ghanaian footballer who plays for Turkish side Hatayspor was trapped under the rubble for close to 24 hours following a wave of earthquakes that have hit parts of Turkey and Syria. Now, according to him, the club have confirmed through their manager Mustafa Uzat that Atsu has sustained injuries and has been taken to the hospital. Now, there's still no update on the status of Hatayspor sporting director Taner Savut as rescue efforts continue. So that's the word so far on Christian Atsu and the earthquake in Turkey. Let's do some club news. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko moved up to second place in the BetPower Premier League after beating Accra Lions by 4-0 on Monday night at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. 2 goals from Stephen Mukwala and 1 each from Rashid Norte and Enoch Morrison secured all 3 points for the Porcupine Warriors. Asante Kotoko head coach Seydou Zebo spoke after the game through his interpreter.
They have done it all because we have prepared that this match of today, they should play to their last and make sure that we win this very much. And they have done it. That is the thing, consistency. That is the thing. But we can't say much because the players are getting injured all the time. Match after match, they are getting injured. Even you can see today, about 2 players get another injury. We have to replace them. So we'll work on that.
You heard Asante Kotoko head coach Seydou Zebo speaking through his interpreter. Now let's hear from Accra Lions head coach Ibrahim Tanko.
I mean, we deserve to look down nothing to deserve even a point. And yeah, as you said, Kotoko a better side, and so they deserve to win, of course. No, I think it's a very young team, and as you said, they need experience. I don't know if the name Kotoko just come over them, but I mean, this is Kotoko. We lost against better teams, so we go and prepare for the next game.
Accra Lions head coach Ibrahim Tanko speaking there. Let's get to the camp of Accra Hearts of Oak. And Slavko Matic is their head coach. He believes that lack of efficiency in front of goal is to blame for his side's defeat to Real Tamale United in the league match that was played over the weekend. Manaf Umar scored the only goal of the game to give the Tamale Bay side all 3 points against the Phobians at the Tamale Sports Stadium on March Day 16. Now, the defeat leaves Hearts in 5th place on the league log with 25 points ahead of tonight's game of the round between Asante Kotoko and Accra Lions.
When you don't score 3 times, 1 against 1 with goalkeeper, second half, from 2 meters, then opponent scored from 30 meters. They punish you for your chances what you didn't score. Generally, it was good game. Lot of running, a lot of intensity, transitions. We try to keep ball more. We create lot of chance today, lot of chance. And after that chance, Gideon would have from 2 meters, we didn't score. Feel little mentally go down. It wasn't easy to come back, but we continue. We try to have more chance, to create more goal, to create more opportunity for goal. Wasn't easy. And you saw this goal from 30 meters, unbelievable goal.
Accra Hearts of Oak head coach Slavko Matic speaking there. To some foreign staff, and Leeds manager Jesse March has been sacked after less than a year in charge. Leeds lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest over the weekend, their 7th Premier League game without a win. Now they are 17th on the table, above the relegation zone only on goal difference, and last one in the league on the 5th of November. Now Leeds finished 17th last season after American March succeeded Marcelo Bielsa in February. A club statement read, and I quote, "We would like to thank Jesse and his backroom staff for their efforts and wish them well for the future. The process of appointing a new head coach is underway, and we'll continue to keep supporters up to date throughout the coming days." End quote. So Leeds United part ways with Jesse March. Let's get to some other news. The Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says his team is not in the position to think about the Premier League title following a 1-0 loss to Tottenham Hotspur. Now City's Premier League title defense suffered a major blow after Harry Harry Kane's record-breaking goal for Tottenham gave them all 3 points over the weekend. Now, Guardiola's side would have moved within 2 points of leaders Arsenal with a victory in North London, but Kane's first half strike, which made him Tottenham's all-time leading scorer on 267 goals, left the Gunners firmly in control of the title race.
Yeah, of course, Arsenal dropped a few points so far, and of course, the opportunity that you have the important to be close and leave the fifth in the table that Tottenham is right now far away to secure the qualification Champions League next season. It was important for many reasons, and the team started really, really well in many things, getting the ball up and creating one or two set pieces chances, but after in a mistake we have done 2 weeks ago, today we repeat again. Of course, you have to do it, but always you have to minimize, and sometimes it's not possible. Unfortunately, it's happened, and after it's more difficult against the Spurs. 2 weeks ago, we were able to come back with a more difficult result, like 0-1. But of course, the stadium and everything is completely different, and there was a lot of interruptions in the second half, and it was more difficult.
So you heard Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola speaking there. Now, Manchester City say that they are surprised to have been charged by the Premier League with numerous alleged breaches of financial rules. The alleged breaches span a period from the 2009-2010 season to the 2017-2018 campaign. The club are alleged to have breached league rules requiring provision in utmost good faith of accurate financial information that gives a true and fair view of the club's financial position. Now, the Premier League, which opened its investigation in March 2019, has referred the alleged offences to an independent commission. So that's what's going on as far as Manchester City are concerned. That's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Kickoff was brought to us by Lesheho and Shell Vivo Energy. There's more sports at citysportsonline.com.
We have on the train a number of big sponsors. The EU, they promised us last year they will be on big time this time, because last year they supported the Back to the Village Food Bazaar, and they've made good their promise. They are like big on the caravan, you know. And so this morning, the ambassador is here to talk about EU, but also to give a seat on the bus for free.
Free of charge.
Hey!
This is unprecedented.
Let me just be sure that it's true before I even enter it. So, Your Excellency, Ikad Razali, you are welcome to the show. Good morning.
How are you, Bernard?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Is it true you are giving a free ticket? So that we know how
it looks incredible.
It's amazing.
It looks too good to be true.
Because even we who organize have never given a free ticket.
I have to confirm. Okay. It's true.
It's
we
true.
Are supporting the Heritage Caravan. And I confirm we will be giving away one ticket.
Wonderful. Ghana. And as he said, he has a ticket to give out for the Heritage Caravan. The number to call is 0302.
Are you ready to answer the question?
Okay.
So the question is the following. The question which can get you a free ticket to join the Heritage Caravan.
There are reputational issues. So I drove to a fuel station this morning. You know, the fuel station is not far. It's around the beach road coming towards town. You know, from the Labadi side coming towards Miami. So usually fuel I will buy 300 or 400. Okay, but today I didn't have physical cash, so I had Momo. So I was late because when I reached the place, when I got to the place, 24 was already reading like maybe it was around 6:10. So indeed, I went to one station. There was a long queue, about 3 cars. So I said, let me just move to another station. So actually, I go to the station. I see one woman, nice long lady, be there. I said, Charlie, this is 170 Ghana. So make it just, sort me out, make her. And the fuel was critical. You know. In fact, I changed my route because of the fuel. Because yesterday I closed from TV late. So I couldn't buy fuel. I couldn't get fuel. So I went home, and by the time I got home, the fuel was blinking. So this morning I used a route that would let me pass through a fuel station. First fuel station, there was like 4 or 5 taxis, and I didn't want to be late, so I passed another fuel station. So I give the woman 170 Ghana. And she punched 170.00. We start pump the fuel. Charlie Sky. The woman pumped the fuel. We finished. Today, sometimes I didn't take receipts. I just tell them, say, okay, cool, I thank her, where they go. Okay, because my first the engine was not off. Okay, but I put the car on park. So she put the fuel inside. So I just continued driving. Sky. I said, this fuel, nothing changed. So okay, what I said, okay, let me get to a traffic light and stop, and then just park the car. Charlie, my brother. In fact, it was I nearly did 1 gallon today. Because when I put the engine off in the traffic, and I started putting the engine back on, the car was protesting. Said, why are you putting me on again? So it had to turn to tongues and things. So when Nanatu was reading the sports, it has international news and sports, and if it's reading that thing, and I know I'm not a certain place, I'll be late. So as Nanatu first started reading the sports, I was on the Ring Road Central now. So they want ATTC Silver Cup. So I just drive. And I was praying that when I get to the traffic light, after circle, the GCB traffic light shouldn't be red. Luckily, it was green. With the one for the Samsung to be green, where I drive past inside Kansas City. Now, all I want to say to the woman who sold it to me is that whatever she needed in the world, that made her do that to me. May the Lord forgive her. And may she get whatever she wants. Because, for me, 170 is nothing. But for somebody, that's the person's life. Yeah. So if I don't know what level of poverty or whether it was a mistake, because I don't believe that she gave me the fuel.
Nothing changed.
My brother, you see, if it's not as if I bought 170 CDs, my car is less than 2.0. So it's not like I'm driving some V8. The car I'm driving,
170 should shake it.
Yeah, 170. Yeah. And I don't buy 170, but that's the only money I have.
The question is, what is the value of 170 Ghana City fuel in terms of?
Okay, let's do it this way. Fuel is 30. Less than 15 cedis a gallon. Okay, wait. How much do you sell a liter of fuel? 13 cedis. So
14.89.
So 14 cedis. Even if it's 17 cedis, that's 10 liters.
10 liters.
Now look at Coca-Cola 1 liter bottle. So if I bought 10 liters of fuel, maybe 12 liters, you can't tell me that the fuel will not change. And this is very early in the morning. So very early in the morning, you can't say that it's in the afternoon where there's evaporation. So very early, the fuel has settled. So obviously she needed the 170 cedis to do something with. So may the Lord give it to her. But
the one that fascinates me is, before
I bought fuel this morning, nothing changed. Yeah.
Like yesterday, for instance, when I was buying fuel, I told the guy 300. The guy calls, "Hey boss, 300 do." And I'm like, "Masa, me shekra."
See, your car is a big car.
Yes.
So if it was you that bought 170 and you didn't feel anything, the thing was red.
Hey, Masa, 170 I'll feel it.
And it was still red.
Masa, 170 I'll still
My
feel
car
it.
is a Peugeot 3008.
Yeah.
And the fuel, it's not. It doesn't take. If I buy 500 or something, it gets full.
What?
Or 550, maybe 6. I've never bought.
Since when?
I've never bought fuel since I got the car. I've never bought fuel more than 600.
Even now?
Yes. So if you buy 550, 600. In fact, I used to fill it to 450.
Hey,
wow.
Yes, what to believe. Oh wait, but that's what I'm saying. That so if I buy 170. So yesterday when I go home,
then
and my drive is
dealing like
my drive is 22 minutes from work.
Yes.
Okay. Now if I'm driving 22 minutes from work, the calculation of the kilometers is not that much. So I am saying that either the woman didn't give me the fuel, because there's no way I can buy 170.
Or your fuel gauge is broken.
Oh please.
No.
It happens sometimes.
This is a digital. It's a digital.
Or maybe.
No, it's a serious thing.
Okay, so you drove straight here.
I'm not going to mention the name of the brand because this could be a particular person, or it could just be the other day the pump was not working. But I'm saying that if you are a fuel attendant and you're stuck in ready to cheat people, you see, change your story. Just relax. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
You see, there's something they call every day for thief man, one day for master. Your cup will be full, and the day you will be caught is not the day you expect. You can cheat me and go away. 170 will not kill me. I'll say something. There are some people when you cheat them, the thing that will follow you be a lot. Because maybe some woman has come, maybe she's a widow or something. This is their only money, and then you decide that that's the day you cheated. Then you become something. So I'm just saying that if your stock in trade is to cheat people.
Taliba.
So 170 Ghana cedis super. I went to the station around 6:10, and the fuel didn't do anything.
That's this morning.
Director of fuel says maybe you were driving on reserve.
Well,
if you are driving on reserve, 170 won't move.
That could be. But also, if you drove straight here and then you turn the car off, maybe try when you turn the car on again and see.
I tried it.
It didn't. It still didn't move.
I said when I got to when I got to the first traffic light,
yes,
I stopped the car, put the engine off, and then I sparked the car again.
How many liters is your fuel tank?
I said it's less than 2.0.
No, I mean the fuel tank. Mine is 60 liters. So I know that if I buy 60 liters worth of fuel, I know.
Google it.
That will help.
Peugeot 300.
Then you know whether what you bought is 10 liters, 15 liters.
No problem.
People say they have fallen victim to this. So Charlie,
how much is petrol now? About 15 cedis.
Yes.
So it was just over.
So what I'm saying is that I listen. I stand to be corrected. If it's my ignorance of mechanics. If it's the fact that I didn't put the car or whatever, it's fine. But if the woman cheated me, she should take the money.
No, but Bernard, when I think about it, I don't think she cheated you because 170 cedis is just over. It's about 10 or 11
liters. Yes.
If you're on E and you've been driving on E for a while, 11 liters isn't going to do much.
I'm coming. I said when I go home, then it said. I finished the show late.
Yes.
So I couldn't stop at the fuel station. So
okay.
I drove and got home. And then when I got home, then it said, fill your tank. And that will give you at least 5 kilometers.
It doesn't show you on your dashboard.
It showed you that fill your tank.
No, like,
I didn't convert it. Okay. But there was that.
Okay.
Then when I started driving this morning, it says fill your tank. I said no problem. I went to the first station. There was like a queue, and it's early in the morning. It's not. And I don't usually carry cash on me. And some of the stations, for some reason, I need to say this as well. Some of the fuel attendants, they don't like Momo for some weird reason. Sometimes when you go, they will say machine enye juma or something. But this morning when I went, there were like plenty taxis. So I went to a fuel station that had no car.
Okay.
And I went there. Maybe I was trying to be their first customer.
Is it a known brand though?
Oh, my brother. It's a very known brand.
Okay. Go on.
And it was a lady.
Okay.
With a nice smile.
She was wearing trousers. And then up and down.
With a nice smile.
You know, where you do the thing to me. So I just want to say that maybe my car has a leakage. Maybe 170 is nothing. Because it's scary. I've seen taxi drivers buy fuel of 100 cedis, 50 cedis. So 170 is not that small. I've seen taxi drivers buy 120 and things.
Now it's small.
Charlie, 170 Ghana. Sky, I don't know. It didn't even
calm down. Calm down.
So you let me do my LPN. I'm forgiving the woman.
Your mathematics has been worked for you. Listen, somebody who knows your car very well says she gave you the fuel.
No problem.
Okay. Since you got the fuel, the engine was on. The quantity would not make an instant change in the bar. Your tank is 53 liters.
Okay.
Your car.
Okay.
The person knows your car very well.
So how many liters?
So how many liters?
It takes 800 Ghana cedis to fill your tank.
No problem. How many liters will 170 give me?
111.
So if I have 53 liters and I have 11, you mean it will even tell me that
one doesn't move the bar.
11
but 11 move the bar. Wait. 11 what is Bernard, you see, let's look at it. What is the percentage of 170 out of 50?
No, he said 53 out of 11, right? No, so 53.
53, yes.
So what is the percentage? That's in excess of what? I mean,
11 out of 50 is more than, it's like 20%.
Yes, so you can't
20%,
but you are on empty.
No, so the 20% will not be shown.
No, you were completely on empty. She gave you the fuel.
No problem. That's why I was not mentioning the name of the brand.
She gave you the fuel.
Oh.
The next time, though, always turn off your engine when you go buying fuel.
It's a lot of things. I know, right? Seriously, so part of it is maybe I didn't have money. So 170 is not a lot.
No, but 170.
They say it shouldn't show. It didn't. A sharp boom crash.
No, so it means you were very empty.
It didn't show.
No, but you were very empty. You were very empty. I'm going with VK's original assertion that
I was empty.
You were on reserve.
Okay.
So we take it like 11 liters will not move,
and that
nothing.
That is also to show the state of the economy that we are running.
That's one way trip for you.
So those who have not been cheated, thank you. That's why.
Aloski, give me your car. I'm going to check your car. I'll be back.
Okay, I'll give it. The keys.
I'm going. Please. Listeners, I'm going to Aloski's car. Fact finding mission. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Before you have to go for it. So I told Ubo to go and buy fuel for me. I gave her the car.
Ogbo, wait.
And I said I'm going to buy 500. So to put in the car.
Ogbo, wait. I'm coming.
So if you see, this is the reason why I've not mentioned the name of the brand. I've not mentioned even the particular location of the fuel station.
But people are trying to decode.
No.
Deciphering things.
No. I just said it was a woman. I haven't mentioned. I don't know the brand. I haven't read the message. You see, I am saying because do you know what? It's because I'm not sure.
What actually happened?
I'm not sure whether it's because the engine was on, whether according to what you are saying, the engine was completely empty. 170 cedis is not that much, but at least you should have.
It's a lot of money, Bernard.
Charlie?
No, Sky. In today's fuel purchasing, 170 is not a lot.
11 liters.
But it depends. It's not.
Koki, does it not depend on your fuel?
On my car or his car, it's not that much.
If I have a 50-liter engine, 50 liter, and I buy 11.
It's significant.
You are telling me that 11 will not do anything at all?
It will do something, but you were on E.
Yeah, but if you have a 50, it's like 1 out of 5. 50 and 1. So if I have a 1/5 filled bottle, the marker on my thing is not. I think that one because they divide it into half.
We shifted to
They have. Okay, let's do this way. They have divided into 4.
Because 1/5 is less than quarter.
I mean by
Yes.
half is 50%.
Yes.
Half of that half is 25%. So if I have 20%, that's just a little below the quarter. And this thing is like completely nothing.
You don't even move.
My sister.
Let's wait for Godfrey to come from the
And the fact that I sat there, it was almost 1 minute. Because I was listening to the news. Kutufo was reading some story. You know, and he read the Turkey story early. You know, he didn't read the Achu story in the.
It wasn't part of the
sports. He read it early, so around that time. So it's like it's this 10.
Okay, so
Charlie,
these days when you buy petrol, you blink no admina. So
and you know the other thing.
It shows you
that
Charlie.
This is the other thing. I didn't come out to the car.
Yeah.
So this is what I did. I lowered the back window. And then when she started pumping the fuel,
you're watching
I raised it. I stopped watching. So you know that's the thing. There were so many things on my head this morning. Thinking about work, what to say in the show, all these things. So immediately she started pouring the thing. I raised the back glass.
He's back.
Charlie. The fact-finding mission of the breakfast show, Citi Breakfast Show, led by Godfrey Akutubuafu and assisted by
Caleb. Yes.
Can confirm that the woman cheated a lot. The woman cheated a lot. The digital reader, because the car has been, all the people say let the car park, settle, do everything. And
see, the reason why I didn't tell you when I came was that I wanted to wait. You see, if I had come join the news review and I just come to say you said let the car wait.
Yes.
I came to work at 6:21ish, right? So I've been here for over an hour. I've not done anything to the car. Fuel later, 170 cedis.
Okay.
No.
I've seen the
finished
video.
though, but
I've seen the video. Godfrey going into the car. Okay, turn on the ignition. Okay, yes, trying to read what the gauge is saying. Yeah. And then eventually found out that Charlie, nothing has moved. Look at this. It's
zero.
Showing the orange color.
Okay, this is what I want to do.
Okay, but let me make
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Fred Jabano, call those people who come on this guy's show.
Eddie show.
To explain to us how to know if you've been cheated or not. It's a very serious thing because for me, I wasn't sure. And even as of now, people are telling me that my car apparently is 53 liters. It has a 7-liter reserve tank. And that to fill my tank, I need 800 cedis. I'm not sure because usually when I buy 550, it's full. 600 is full.
Is it always on empty?
No, there's always something inside.
Maybe that's why.
There's
it's completely empty.
Yeah, so there's something that I want to.
And my car never gets to this point.
You see, I have a principle that my fuel gauge never moves below the half tank.
You have money.
No, you can afford that principle. Me, I can't afford it. You have money. You have money. You can afford that principle.
I lost care. We will not for that principle. 300, 200 category. Yes. We will do 300, 200.
Sky, I can't afford that.
Why are you people doing this? That's okay. Okay, that's okay.
Look at you.
It is not because I have money. It is just a principle.
But how do you have a principle that cannot be backed by resources?
Wait, you see, when you first fill your tank, and you use it for a while, you always make it a duty that you always top up.
What advantage do you have in doing that?
What it does is that it doesn't allow dust to even be sucked into.
But this is the first time I've reached.
In fact, that's right.
Like you're saying.
You understand? So,
and that told me the same thing.
Exactly. When you always run the tank dry, what you do is that there are always impurities in fuel, and because majority of the time you don't even know the quality of fuel they are selling to you, so you may find that your oil pump, your fuel pump, gets choked along the way, and you destroy so many things in the car. And then also sometimes the problem may well be the sensor in the the oil tank. It happens sometimes. Maybe it is not functional. So in order to come to a firm conclusion as to whether this woman I'm just saying, just for purpose of education. So it is possible to now check and be sure that the oil, the sensor in the tank is working properly, and if it is working properly, then some other explanations.
But I want to say that this is probably only the second time since I've had the car that I've had this red thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm saying that you need to understand. Yesterday was the first time I came back on TV in a long time.
Yeah.
So I went back on air. I got like 8 p.m. I couldn't buy the fuel because I was like running late. So I got there, did the interview, and I closed around 10. Whenever I finished my pleasantries, coming it was a bit late. So I said, okay, let me get there in the morning, and then you know what I'm saying. And Sky, I've managed to bring fuel at that level to the office before, but something like, let me just buy. You know, so I don't know. Anyway, so please, those of you who have been doing that to people, don't do it. It's not good.
And maybe we should regulations should insist on transparent hoses.
According to Maoli, he now buys fuel in liters. So I should have told the woman that I will buy 10 liters. But I don't have the mathematical brain for that.
The gauge can always read anything because you cannot see what's going into the tank. The only way you can see that is when the gauge is either moving, which is also not advisable when you have your...
So that's why I said my mistake was that today now I don't know what happened.
so perhaps the way to do it is where we see the hose, the fuel hose, it should be transparent so that you can see that, okay, there's something entering the vehicle.
And something was telling me to buy Momo, but I knew that it will waste time. And a lot of these attendants, when you buy Momo, they waste your time. And I want to tell the companies who run that a lot of your attendants don't like Momo. I want to be honest with you. Some of the attendants, when you tell them to buy Momo, they look at you some way. Most of them prefer cash. At least some of the stations I've been to.
But Bernard, this is why. A lot of them don't have like an official Momo. So the attendants have to use their personal one.
It's not true.
No, I'm telling you,
they are writing, you see a sticker on the thing.
You will see a sticker, then they'll tell you. So there's some do, but some don't. So when that happens, the attendants have to now give you their personal Momo. It's a whole thing. They now have to go. That's why. So they'll say, oh, Momo is not working, or okay, then they'll say, okay, you have to send it to me, and then maybe add something. It's a whole. So the companies have to make sure.
I bought something recently, and I went to some place. I was pleasantly surprised. The person said, oh, just give me your number. When I get the person my number, he did a *7 something.
Yes, they have a POS that does that.
Beautiful. So I feel like a lot of attendants prefer you to give them cash for whatever reason. Maybe they don't want the attendant to know, because of course, if there's a system this is my personal feeling, if there's a system that is digital, the owner can sit in their house and know how much fuel has been sold.
Yes.
Okay, but if the person collects cash, they can do their own conicorous things. And then
this is a speculation.
No, I'm telling you, because I'm saying that I'm not talking about this particular person. A lot of times when I go to stations and I say I want to pay with
Momo,
they are like, oh, and they want me to charge you. So it's like it's almost like, why do you want to pay by Momo? Give me the cash. And I'm saying, maybe if you had a fuel station, wouldn't you prefer everybody to pay by Momo?
Of course I would.
POS. There's also something about the inconvenience that comes with using Momo for even the customer, which is what the whole process of *170 something or merchant number. I think the system has to be more efficient.
Yes.
Which is what you can easily tap. There should be a way of redesigning the whole process.
That's what he's saying.
No, not the card. I believe that where we have reached with technological advancement and all of that, it should be possible to design a software that makes it possible for you, even if you tap your voice.
No, but Sky, that's what he's saying, that there are these POSs now that do that. All you do is give your number, and they'll do everything there. You pay.
You understand? But even that takes some time. What I'm saying is that, you see, for instance, where we're in the UK, I think that's some of the banks. That's your card.
Just tap and pay.
Yeah, understand. I'm trying to say that stretch that principle to mobile money. So, for instance, it could be a QR code or whatever you use.
Okay.
You tap your phone against whatever.
Let's take it one by one. So the first process, which is difficult, is the process of you yourself entering everything.
Yeah, *170.
We don't want to do that. So Kokri says there's an improvement. The improvement is that you mention your number, the person does it for you. You just do
you prompt to pay the payment. You get a prompt.
You put a code and then a yes. Now you are saying that the step beyond that is to say, look, we don't need to impress anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I don't know if your phone, there's something called NFC, something field, whatever, whether the phone is attached to something where you can do that. I'm sure that exists in other places. But again, in the UK, what we had was when you have your card, you just tap and pay. All right.
Beyond a certain limit, they won't allow you.
Yes. But I don't know how that can work for a phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a technological
person. Voice. Or you can say, we also do a voice thing. Maybe the technology should tell us, Maximus, you can do a voice and say, pay Momo or something. Maybe the voice recognition. Yeah, if you do a precise voice. Yeah, like think about it.
If you have
you can do a voice recognition, everything is possible. Like we have chat GPT.
I was about to say, ChatGPT, you say, pay my fuel.
But I'm going to say this though. technology will reduce corruption to its barest minimum, because even in the case of what happened to me, one of the reasons why I know I was cheated very strongly is because the machine didn't move. Because the thing about machine is a machine. No? Machine is not mood. Machine doesn't have mood. Though. The machine doesn't have a bad day to say today I won't do it. You see, and that's what I'm saying, that if it's a Momo payment, it would have been a different conversation. You know what I mean? So I just feel, and the lesson here is obviously put off your engine when you're going to buy.
Yeah, for that one. It's
second lesson, top up in the night before you go and do whatever you are going to do. Don't drive an empty engine. When you're listening to the news, put it off before you buy your fuel. And don't go to that station ever again in your life. And then final point.
And I'm boycotting that. You should go back.
I'm boycotting that brand for the next 6 months.
No, but I think you should go back.
Final point. Final point. Yes. When you're buying, just make sure that the counter on the pump is set to 0. Because somebody just sent me a message and said, listen, sometimes they say I must start you. It could be that somebody's previous purchase wasn't closed. So you say you want 170. Maybe he gave the person.
She pressed 170.
I'm just saying.
It's not impressive.
Maybe in your case, yes. But that's something. Somebody just sent me a message and said, oh, look, I've been a few. So she has to do the hook group? No, like clear the counter and reset it to 0. You see the whole thing. See, this is the other thing. In Africa, we say we want to give people jobs. Godfrey, when I live in the UK, there was never a day I bought fuel that somebody paid for me.
Yeah,
you do yourself.
You see, and we are sitting and saying, oh, for human being, let's do job. People are replacing human beings with machine because machine, they don't wake up in the morning and say I have a headache. They do their work. When I was in the UK, there was no day I went to a fuel station. The only thing I did was when I went to pay. So I buy the fuel myself. I enter the station. And sometimes the Indian guy will just say, usually they were Indian guys for some reason. They will say, oh, hey, you go from Ghana, Africa, you were very intelligent. Usually wearing a turban, mostly in the Midlands. Then he will take your card and then you pay. Then they will sell cigarettes. If you want to buy, you buy. That's all they do there. And then you gossip, hey, you are Ghanaian. So I met some Nigerian guy, so he was a lecturer in Nigeria, now he said whatever in whatever. You know? But and if I had bought the fuel myself, I couldn't come out and say I've been cheated.
Yeah, because you punched the thing yourself.
So now this lady who's been given a job has obviously robbed me of my 170 cedis. I don't have fuel in my car.
Well, I would still say that let's go easy on conclusion because the car may well have.
Godfred went on a fact-finding mission.
So many things.
But I've issued a caveat.
My car is a new car.
It doesn't matter. Even new cars sometimes have defects. That's why I'm saying that it could well be the sensor is not functional.
Sky, this car that I drive, if there's any problem, it will tell you. It's a new car. It's a 2021
with
car.
Fuel gauges.
Somebody who drives your car says, Bernard, I use the same car. As at last November, I was buying a full tanker, 600. Now I filled the car at 860.
I've never gotten the car to a point where I have to buy 800. When I buy 600, the car is full.
So that's what the question is saying.
Yesterday, what point was it?
It just said low. It said your fuel is low.
It was a shock to your system.
So that was the first time,
territory. Right? Look.
This is like the second time we've reached that place.
The person is telling you that she has this, or he or she has the same car, and 170 has little impact. Because she said, there's no way a pump attendant can cheat you. Your tank was really low.
Okay, you know what we'll do this morning? Let me let Ogbo go and buy 300 first. Let's start with 300 and see if it shift.
You've heard it.
I won't go to that station. I'm going to that station.
Every fuel station is on the lookout this morning for a Peugeot 3008.
We are going to buy. We are going to buy it in the gallon.
If you buy 300, your car will be full. If you buy 300 this morning, your tank will be full.
Otherwise, we will take yellow gallon to the station.
Ogo, please take a yellow gallon.
Bernard's car is a grey something. It is coming right now. All the fuel stations, it is a grey something.
I'm sure on their fuel platform, WhatsApp platform, they are WhatsApp.
Please, the car is coming.
Today, I've been confronted with a real case of, do I do Fama Nyami?
I know, right?
Or do I do myself?
Or maybe I should see it.
That's the thing. The person said, listen, it can pain, but fuel is expensive now. Please face our reality. Bernard, you were driving on a reserve time. You were not cheated.
170. Into 170 and top petrol. Into 170 and top petrol. 170 Ghana.
But 170.
What is 170 old Ghana cities?
170 million.
1.7 million.
1.7 million and top petrol, my petrol didn't change people. And I'm not even saying, this is my point. It didn't say that. Imagine if it had said you are still low. It didn't. You see, the thing said I'm red. I bought 170. It says I'm red. It didn't say that. Oh, you are very low, and you know it can do white. Is this the thing? The car, when the fuel is low, it turns red and orange. If the fuel can be low, but it can still be white. Still under the 25. So my point is that at least give me the 25% line point.
Yes, but you were probably around like less than 20%.
So they're saying you were probably really, really low.
Lower
than you thought. So 170 should not.
Lower than you
thought.
So
you hadn't bought fuel.
That's the other problem.
And you drive inner city.
No, let me tell you. What did I do? I bought fuel. What was today? Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Saturday. Where is Saturday?
Yes.
Where was I? Where did I go on Saturday? I went somewhere on Saturday.
Okay.
And I bought fuel of 500.
Right.
On Saturday. I don't remember where I went. But Saturday I drove around a bit. And then
you bought 500 worth of fuel and you won.
Yes, I'm coming
today.
Because I went somewhere on Saturday. And then I went to a different. I don't know where I went. I took the boys somewhere. I don't remember.
Drove quite a bit.
And then on Sunday we went to Tema and came back.
Oh, okay.
Good. Saturday I went to a party. There was a party at some place.
Was it far, like distance wise?
So you can say I drove the equivalent of East Legon Hills to Chado and back.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And then that's the only place I went on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday I went to Tema and came back.
Okay.
And then in the morning, I went to two places. I came to work and then they took the kids to school and came back. So you can say I drove a bit. So 500 came down. But it's just, then there's the other problem.
That was yesterday.
So Saturday into Sunday into Monday, 500 for this ETA.
Okay.
And you can say I drove around a bit. But not to the point where 170.
Cannot make an impact.
Anyway, let's do the birthdays and move. It's okay, guys. It's okay. I want to move on. The good news is that Christian Achu, the news is that he's been rescued.
Yeah. We'll try and we're making efforts to reach the journalist who actually.
Yes, we've also placed calls to the ambassador. We're basically trying to get more information about Christian Achu, but the good news we are told.
Yeah, that's the one that matters. He's been found.
Yes. And you know, what do I? Those who send birthday requests, this one I can't even do it. Somebody else will do it.
Yeah, okay.
The thing has destroyed my. That's spoiled the thing for me.
Let's do the birthday messages that have come in. Some of them that have come in.
Plenty.
Let me do this one first for my uncle, Bright Yao Jaka. Yesterday, actually, what was his birthday? My mother's very last. Their last born. One of my very supportive uncles, always there for me. I thank him for everything that he's done over the years, and he continues to do. May the Lord God continue to bless him for everything that he has done for me, and the family extends the same.
Okay, here's another one. Bernard, please do this for a friend, a wonderful wife. Happy birthday. May the Almighty grant you strength and good health. To Grace Cranting Owusu of Defraco C25 Tema from Mansford Owusu, Finance Manager of Ghana Link Network Service. Happy birthday to you. Kindly with the CEO of FKD Construction Company, Mr. Francis Doe, an ardent listener of your station. A glorious birthday for me. The good Lord continue to show you his kindness as he has never shown anyone before. From Seth Walanyo Banu to you, Francis Doe, an ardent listener of the Citi Breakfast Show. Happy birthday to my friend Lawyer Mieza Alie. I think you are still with Ghana Gas. We call him Francois. Yeah. Lawyer Mieza. He has a longer name, but I won't mention it. It's a powerful Nzimama.
Okay.
The Nzimama name is very wild.
And then this one says, happy birthday, my darling, my best friend, my biggest cheerleader, and prayer partner. I'm so grateful to God for bringing you to our family. I pray you fulfill your purpose in Jesus' name. Remember that when the hyenas gather, I will be your Mustafa, or is it Mufasa? Roaring in prayer.
Wait, please read that one again.
It's actually Mufasa.
When the hyenas gather, I will be my Mustafa.
I'll be your Mustafa.
This is a Lion King reference.
Yeah,
very clearly. Your childhood was troubled.
No, I wasn't watching the kinds of things you had the privilege
but your
of
children
watching.
know this. If your children were reading this, They would have read it better.
But you know the problem with that? What happened to Mufasa in the Lion King?
Well, I don't know about that. God bless you.
So Scar killed Mufasa.
Scar killed Mufasa.
Ah, okay. I see.
But he has to be Simba.
No, but Mufasa's son is Simba. Right?
Simba, yeah. So he has to be Simba.
Yeah, but so Mufasa is like Christ. You died for your son to now take over the throne.
Oh, I see. Well, it's coming from the entire family, especially Felicia.
Let's connect to the Turkish journalist who originally broke the story about the earthquake and its effect on Christian Achu, and his latest tweet that suggests that Christian Achu has been found. He's called Yagis. Yes, Nathan, can you help me and interview him for me? This one there is beyond my pay grade. Nathan, please talk to him.
Hello, Yagis.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can you just give us an update on Christian Achu? Can you confirm that he's been pulled out of the rubble?
Yes, sure. Unfortunately, the situation in Hatay is so bad. 8 teams are working, but so many buildings have been destroyed. That support is insufficient. As you said, we got the best news of the day from Atsu, and I confirmed it from Hatay board. Atsu was pulled alive from the rubble and taken to the hospital right now. His condition is good, but we are waiting for more good news from Atsu, because after 26 hours he emerged from the rubble, and it's so critical news. Good news, but critical news, because he was in the rubble since 26 hours. Therefore, we're still waiting more good news from Atsu. And also, I have bad news about Taner Savut, who works for Hatay Spor as sporting director. Taner Savut is still under the rubble. Search efforts is continue. We look forward to it. I hope.
So, at what exact time was Achu pulled out of the rubble?
26 hours, my friend. 26 hours. He's in the hospital right now after 26 hours.
Okay, so I mean, away from the good news, what's the rescue situation like in Turkey? This morning I read somewhere that the president was sending 13,000 rescue workers to the Hatay region. How are things going on in terms of the rescue mission?
Rescue teams is hard working on the earthquake zone, but situation is so bad. Hatay, Malatya, Gaziantep, and more. 8 teams are working, as I said, but so many buildings have been destroyed, my friend. Therefore, sometimes support team is insufficient, as I said before. More than one country sent rescue teams to earthquake zone, and I have to thank to all countries about this. But sometimes, as I said, support is not enough, because a lot of buildings have been destroyed.
All right, Yagis, thank you. But finally, when do you think that we'll hear from Achu's club, Hatay Spor? Do you think they'll put out an official statement, or you don't think that will happen?
My friend, I spoke with Hatay Spor president 1 hour ago. He said me Atsu was in the rubble, but right now we rescued him and he's good condition in the hospital, and we are following his health situation.
Thank you.
And if I get more news right now, because network is so bad, I can't speak anyone when I want, because network is bad, so bad in the earthquake zone. I never speak with telephone. I just sent SMS and I got answer via message. Therefore, network and connection is so bad. I want more good news also, and another person. But as I said, it's not easy. It's not easy because road is destroyed because of earthquake, and they will, I hope, solve this problem. And rescue teams is going to Hatay right now from a lot of city. And still Hatay is waiting help and rescue teams more because more than 1 million people affect this earthquake, but no a lot of rescue teams in the Hatay. But me and my friends and more than one journalist and more than one singer or anything else help and help to Hatay. To more help to Hatay. I hope we will do it. We will do it, my friends.
All right, Yagis, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we wish you the very, very best and commiserations to everybody who's been affected in Turkey. So that was Yagis Sabunçoğlu. He's a Turkish journalist. And he was the one who first broke the news that Achu was trapped under the rubble. And then 26 hours later, he's confirmed that, yes, Achu has been pulled out. He's been sent to the hospital.
Thank God.
Wow. I'm sure we'll get further updates.
Achu had been under for 26 hours.
Yes, 26 hours.
That's
a day and 2 hours.
That's
because the earthquake happened at 4 a.m. and he was rescued at 6 a.m. today. Yeah. So the whole day he's been under there.
Yeah.
Wow. That must be.
I think that's taking social media trends, right?
Yeah.
It was the biggest story.
Achu's trending.
Yeah, because I mean, throughout yesterday, people were praying for him. Because of the charity work he's done generally. People were remembering his commitment to the widows of our world, the prisoners.
No, wonderful news. So
great news.
We'll take that as the segment that Nathan just did, and it was brought to us by CalBank and Vodafone.
Yes, so our friends at CalBank want to remind us that you can reactivate your CalBank account, and then you get access to their free shortcode service, *771#. You can also use CalNet and the CalBank app when you reactivate. Call them on 0800 500 500. CalBank, forward together. And Vodafone wants us to know that 1 Ghana cedi can get you many things. You can get 20 minutes of talk time to all other networks, 1 gigabyte of data every day between 5 a.m. and 11:59 a.m. And that's all for 1 Ghana cedi. Just dial *530# to subscribe and enjoy longer conversations and browsing. Vodafone, further together.
And let's talk about a global standard luxury wristwatch made right here in Ghana for that special someone with their name customized in it. That's what we call a timeless gift. Caveman Watches is giving you a whopping 50% discount on the cost of customizing a name inside any of their exquisite luxury watches this season till 15 February. Visit at Caveman Watches on all platforms or contact 055-751-6744 or visit cavemanwatches.com for more information. And imagine the things you can do with an extra 50 cedis.
You can buy more petrol. You can buy more petrol. That would have given you 220 cedis worth of petrol,
I had one
Bernardino.
more 50 Ghana. It would just have meant that she's still taking my 220. Because once she's determined to cheat me. And the other thing I need to say is that, you see, they usually cheat you when you buy lower brands. If I was buying like 600, definitely she will know that I'll come back. Because if I buy 600, don't give me 600 or give me only 60 cedis. I will be angry. But 170 is small enough to do what you did to me. It's not too much. Do you understand? Because I'm not going to buy 1,700, so 170 is small. If I said I was going to buy 500, she wasn't going to cheat me. Because if I buy 500, the thing doesn't move. I will definitely drive and come back and cause a mayhem. But 170, I'm doubting. So I'm asking, have I been cheated or not? When you know she's cheated me.
We don't know.
We know.
We don't know.
So anyway, let me come back to my announcement. Imagine what you can do with 50 extra cedis. You can now shop at your favorite restaurant or buy fuel from a reliable fuel station who will not cheat you. And ZPay is giving you 50 cedis cash bonus.
Thank you.
Do you know how many motorbike riders fill their motorbike with 50 Ghana? 50 Ghana motorbike. You fill up. ZPay is giving 50 cedis cashback bonus to all first-time MoneyGram to wallet receivers. Now we have more than 4,000 agents nationwide. Dial *270# and register now. Chop, make a chop. That's what we were supposed to do. But this one, the woman chop and don't chop.
Hey, Sunny put there. Charlie. But I can see that.
Let me tell you something. If I tell you something. If like I take 170 think that somebody's a bit better. Hey! It's campaign, no. You know, if I give somebody 500 this morning, I'm
just not convinced that she cheated you.
I'm not a child.
I think there must be another explanation for this.
I've bought fuel. I've been driving since I was 22 years old.
I get it. It happens.
I've been buying fuel every day. If you are cheated, you know. My brother, there's no way you buy 170 and it will not move. I mean, what are you saying? I'm not driving a V8. I'm driving a Charlie Massa.
Let's read some of the comments that have come in.
But I won't mention her station. I won't mention. Make she take it. But I'm sure she knows herself. I'm sure her friends will go say, "Hey, Charlie, we'll be bold."
Let's read some of the comments that have come in, Bernard. This one, the Think Pain Bernard. With Charlie. Oh, please find a song to console Bernard. 170.
350 CD notes and 120 notes.
Can you imagine that? Professor said, good morning, team. There's really no way a pump attendant can cheat you. Your tank was really low. It can pain, but fuel is expensive now.
We take it like that.
Please face our reality. This one says, Bernard, you were driving on reserve tank. You weren't cheated. This one says, CDCBS, the fuel we buy at the pump is not what we receive. Ask the fuel attendants. There's something called variation. The pump machines are tweaked. What the fuel attendants serve is lower than what we actually are expected to be given. This cuts across every fuel station from K Bar in Adenta. This one says, Charlie Aloski, the 170 thing, you are.
Bernard, listen to this one. This is a message. This one is a reverend father.
Hey.
He said, Bernard, I think you were cheated. Even with my 3.5 engine on reserve, 200 cedis fuel, turn the reserve light off just 3 days ago. What are you talking about? 200 cedis for 3.5 liter, 170 for 2.0 liter.
It could be that maybe this, as Sky was saying, maybe the sensor didn't register something. There could be so many things.
We have to recalibrate.
And she isn't here to defend herself. So
that's why I've not mentioned her name.
Yeah, but I hesitate to say that she cheated you, honestly. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a woman. I just think there could be another plausible explanation for this.
May it not happen. May it not happen to you. Today you are saying, may it not happen to you.
There was a day a similar thing happened to me, and I actually bought much more than that. And and my gauge didn't move. So I went back and told them. In fact, I went back and I by the time I got back there, then the gauge started to move. So initially I thought, hey, fuel near. But later on, it started moving. So I realized there was a gauge.
Yeah, but you see, I bet you didn't even collect what do you call it?
I was coming to work. I was late.
Most of us.
So right now, even if you go back there, say you bought fuel from here, it will be a contest of claims. There may not even be a CCTV camera to prove that you went through that station.
Okay, but is it like
okay? Why do I even have to ask for a receipt? That's the other question.
You see, so I was actually thinking about this.
Ask for a receipt.
You see, Bernard, I was actually
you're book too much. You don't want to buy something, say, open receipt and
you see, it's wrong.
Saying, how do you account to your manager that you sold the fuel if you don't give me receipt?
Yeah.
Why should receipt be on request?
I was thinking about this.
You see, go for it. You bought gold for oil fuel. Go for it. How do you say? What's the biggest fuel for TV that you can
find? You know what? That's even like if that was the G for O fuel, like you should even be getting more because it's supposed to be cheaper. So you've been cheated twice.
Don't mind that this morning, the country had too much. Allow.
Someone else better should relax. It is too early to draw conclusions. Conclusion is right. Your mistake was leaving the engine on at the filling station.
Let's set a committee
to look into the matter.
When I come back, I'm
nominating Sanu to chair the committee.
When I come back, I'm going to speak to a member of the independent bondholders from that we haven't heard of. He hasn't spoken a lot. I'm going to speak to him.
Today is last day.
I just want to get his perspectives on the offer. So the finance minister gave them a final offer. He's
yesterday.
Saying, now, if you are below 59, we're going to give you 5 years instead of 12 years. And I'm going to give you 10%. If you're above 59, we're going to give you 15%. that we're going to ask them why they are still rejecting that offer and what that means. So that all of that and more. I just want to say, look, I've moved on. I will just.
Have you forgiven?
Oh yeah, no, a long time.
Yeah, that's what. Even, no, I've already forgiven, but they're forgetting.
You understand? The cutlass that cut you, no, he's forgotten that he cut you. But you, the person where he cut you, never forget.
All I said, each day for team, one day for master. unhappy with the bond thing. The pensioners say they'll continue picketing until they are resolved. But this guy is not a pensioner, but he's going to explain to me why they refuse the offer, because the finance minister has moved quite a bit from what he originally proposed. Initially, there were 4 bonds. They now made the bonds 12. Their interest rate was a flat 5 to 10. Now they've done 15. The tenor was 12. The tenor was 15 years. I think 12 years. They brought the tenor to 5 years. So a few things there. So what's really going on? So I'm going to do a quick interview with Michael Harry. Since I'm a member of the Independent or Individual Bondholders Forum on why the bondholders still say they will not go agree. But let's talk a couple of things down.
All right. Well, parents, pay attention. Prospectus Ghana introduces a new short code, *447 *899#. This is to help parents and guardians make installment payments towards items required for their ward school admissions. It's safe and it's convenient. They also provide a one-stop shop for all your school items, and they supply good quality brand chalk white A4 sheets for all printing jobs. Locate Prospectus Ghana on the Graphic Road opposite Toyota Ghana, or call Prospectus Ghana on 0500 600 607. Prospectus Ghana, your one-stop shop for all school items and stationery. And are you an entrepreneur in the formal or informal sector between 16 and 55 years of age? Are you seeking an opportunity to fund and grow your business? Well, say no more. I Am Investable is here to make your dream come true. Join the Investable Business Initiative now and receive up to 50,000 cedis grant, mentorship, and support to grow your business. To participate, send a summary of 250 words about your business or a 2-minute video of you telling us why your business is viable and investable. A processing fee does apply, but you can pitch your way to success today. Go to iaminvestable.com for more details. I Am Investable, empowering innovative businesses for growth. And for those of you who are milk lovers, the rich taste of Dano milk makes a perfect combination with your tea, oats, Gary soakings, cocoa, etc. to give you that great taste you've always desired. Dano milk is a rich source of natural protein and is fortified with vitamin A. It has several other vitamins and essential nutrients that keep you nourished and healthy every day. Now, it has iodine, calcium, protein, and so much more. Choose Dano milk because 100% of our milk is sourced from our farms in Europe. So we control the entire production process to ensure that the milk that you get keeps its natural quality. We have the plain powdered milk, milk coffee, milk chocolate, all kinds of variations, right? Dano milk, go for it.
Now, I have something for you.
Okay, tell us about it.
Now, La Bianca Company Limited, the leading frozen foods company in Ghana, has a new one.
Yes.
In support of the local poultry industry and in promoting made in Ghana goods, after Citi has made a lot of noise.
Yes.
They have introduced something called Akuko Tasty.
Aha!
aka Kokulo Vivi. Akuko Tasty. Locally produced bread and slaughtered. And it's a fresh frozen chicken, comes freshly portioned in chicken breast, chicken thigh, chicken back, and my favorite, the gizzard.
The gizzard.
Yes. I actually tried this thing last week.
Okay.
We fried it.
Did it be?
Charlie, we almost chewed our fingers.
Thank you.
Wow.
Now, La Bianca is the sole distributor of Akuko Tasty. Now, so this is Shiawo.
Yeah.
Apekokulu. Wonderful. So for your fresh quality frozen foods, contact La Bianca Company. We are at the Fishing Harbour, Tema Newtown Road, opposite NIB Bank, or call 0505 431 111. Tell them you want Akuko Tasty. The number again, 0505 431 111. Kuku, I'm recommending Akuko Tasty for you.
Thank you. You've just reminded me of something that I need to ask the two of you. Are you familiar with Koklo Jenkplan?
Yeah.
I learned about this for the first time last week on Breakfast Daily.
How have you been living?
Because listen,
how have you survived?
We were talking about Back to Your Village Food Bazaar, and we had people calling in to talk about their favorite food. And a gentleman called, he's an Everman, lives in Kumasi. Charlie, what's one lady called from Ketan? What she did to me? She said, "Kukui, you have to come home." And then this man called and he said, "Hey, his food of life."
Thank you.
His Koklo Jeng. I said, "What is this?" The man said, "You use the stock, the chicken stock, to make the Jenkplan."
Yeah.
He says it will transform your life.
If you provoke Sky, he'll do it for you.
Sky, I'm provoking you.
So guys, let's deal with
yes
the bond point.
The bond matters
yes.
first.
So Michael Yamson is a member of the Individual Bondholders Forum, and they've been playing with different scenarios. So they initially met the ministry, and then they had this joint technical committee that recommended that Ghana could save over 80 billion cedis in fiscal adjustments and expenditure cuts. That conversation is not over. Finance Minister then comes back and says, okay, I'm going to amend the terms of the bond, and I'm now going to give you 5 years instead of whatever number, 12 or 10. I'm going to increase the rate for pensioners. Now, the individual bondholders say no. They say the original thing they went for with their bank is what they want. So I want Michael to explain what has shifted and why they are still refusing to accept the new offer. Michael, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So when I read some of the stuff the Individual Bondholders Forum put together, it seems like a lot of rigorous work. But this is almost like a volunteer pressure group, right? It's not like you were co-opted in. Tell me about how the pressure group came about, because some of the stuff you put out are pretty detailed.
Thank you. No, indeed, you are correct. This is volunteer work. Everybody involved in the analysis is doing this on their own time and their own CD. But what will interest you to know is that there are some members who have volunteered who actually don't hold any bonds. But for them, this is a matter of national interest and the long-term implications for government and in the financial space. If what is being proposed if what is intended is what gets implemented, the implications for us will not just be that government is suddenly able to meet a certain criteria. There will also be on the other side a long-term loss of confidence in government and anything that government does in the financial space. People will simply not trust giving their money to government. People will not save. People will keep their money in their bedrooms, and that is not good for us in the long term. So we are doing this work not just because of personal interest, but also because it will help all of us as a country in the long term.
So the original discussion was that individual bondholders will not be included. Then when the finance minister amended the bond terms from 4 to 12, he then decided to make the offer to individual bondholders. Now, your group, which we understand is about 13% of all bondholders, roundly rejected the invitation. Then we've seen meetings and engagements where the finance minister has sort of made concessions. But it appears that the bondholders still are not satisfied. So just let me be clear. Did you enter the negotiation saying we are not going to take any debt exchange at all? Or was there an offer that would have been acceptable and it's just that the minister did not give it?
So we entered the debt exchange with a number of thoughts guiding everything that we did. First of all, that whatever was proposed ought to be fair. It ought to reflect the fact of government's own contribution to solving this problem, which up until now we have not seen anything concrete said or done about. We also felt that if we were going to ask individual bondholders to make any contribution, it was not one that that had to be framed in a manner that made it punitive, because individual bondholders entered into the relationship with government on the basis of a zero risk rating, number one, of an assurance that government would pay, and the proposals could not be unilateral. Up until now, we have seen unilateral proposals. None of the conversations that were entered into in the technical committee between government and the individual bondholders has been reflected. None. So all the proposals that we made, which we talked about, 83.5 billion in savings, none has been discussed by government. The only thing that has happened is that government has come back with another proposal saying, you pay, I do nothing. And that is not a fair basis on which...
But Michael, is it...
but in any case, government, we say, does not even need the individual bondholders. Government can get the number it is looking for without the individual bondholders. So there's not any real reason for government to be pressing us to this extent.
So the government's final offer, as announced by the minister yesterday, was around 10%, 5 years. So 10% interest, 5-year tenor for people below 59, and then 15%, 5 years for people above 59, which seems a bigger, which is like an improvement from what was originally on the table. Do you get me? So, is it that were you looking for like 2 years, or were you looking for 20%? Is there any number you were working with at all, which you were hoping he would come to, or your point was that, look, we don't even need a debt exchange at all. If you do your structural reform and your fiscal adjustment, you don't even need a debt exchange. I just wanted to know what type of numbers and what type of scenarios you were playing with whilst you entered those discussions.
Okay. So there is that part of the conversation. You don't need us if you do the right things. The second part of the conversation is that even what is offered is hobbled by the legal framework around it is such that you have no fallback if government fails to perform what it says it will do at the new bond. You just have no legal legs to stand on. Government says that if it doesn't perform its obligations under the new offer, you cannot attach its assets, not diplomatic, not military, and any asset in Ghana that is dedicated to public and government use cannot be attached. In effect, you just cannot hold government to account if government fails to perform. That is not the basis on which to get into a fair contract. So we cannot recommend to anybody that go and have a new relationship with government when government says, if I don't do what I promise, you have no recourse. In practical terms, you have no recourse. That is not a contract to recommend that anyone should enter into. The second thing also about these bonds is that government essentially allows itself to vary the terms at will. That is dangerous. The current bonds that people hold have very clear legal protections for the holders. We cannot recommend to anybody that get into a relationship where essentially you are walking on water. We are not Jesus Christ. We cannot walk on water. So we will not recommend to anybody to get into a relationship where there is no solid ground to stand on.
But
it's not really about the numbers anymore. If you have if your personal circumstances demand that you take what is on the table fair, you will get about a fifth of what you will take if you wait the whole way. But if your personal circumstances allow you to be patient and wait, then the bond you are holding is far more superior in quality, it's far more secure, and there's really no reason for you to trade. There's really no reason for you to trade.
Yeah, okay, so just I read your proposals that amounted to about 8.82 billion. Yeah. A lot of those things seem very commonsensical, but I think the question is within the period that we're in. So there's almost like a couple of self-imposed constraints. IMF program, staff level agreement, board is waiting, debt restructuring, domestic exchange. Whilst almost everything you said they should do was doable, I was not sure how soon they could do it. Let me give you an example. So you mentioned, for example, property rate. You calculated and said 2.2 million households. If they get 50% at 1,000 cities, they'll get about 1.2 billion. Then you spoke about some of the tax things they should implement. Almost all those things would take at least 6 months to a year, right? So if you are in a situation where you need to confirm an IMF deal for 3 billion by, say, whenever, can you say that it's not really about the numbers and that's about the principle? Because where we are, if they don't have a deal announced or confirmed, the markets will punish us. whatever we are going to even get by way of relief for our currency is going to be reversed. And the minister is saying that it's almost a Armageddon, right? Are you saying that's not true?
Bernard, it's not a Armageddon. Anything you take to the IMF, it's not about things you are doing on that day. It's about a plan of things you are going to do. That plan has to be reasonable enough to inspire confidence in the IMF that you will correct the ills of your economic management. That's all, in simple terms. Because there is no plan that will take away half of Ghana's debt in one day. It's not true. Everything you will take to IMF is a series of things you are going to do over a period of time that will course correct. Let me put it in that sense. So it's not true that we don't have any time. What we don't have time for is a plan that is not bankable. Everything that we said in those negotiations are either things that are on the books or things that can be done in a reasonable amount of time. The tax arrangements most of them are already on the books. What we don't have is enforcement, and what we have is a lot of loopholes. I think in the course of the last 6 months, we've covered the abuse of loopholes, running into hundreds of millions of cedis. So those are the things that can be done in a very short amount of time. Property rates are already on the books. Again, the matter becomes one of enforcement. So it is not a case of we saying government should do things that government cannot do or cannot do in a reasonable amount of time or will not be persuasive if government sits at the table with the IMF. The question is, what is government willing to do? Because if government has tied itself to a certain course of action and is unwilling to yield on that course of action, I'm talking about the political program, then unfortunately it's not going to be very willing to back off or back down from its chosen course of action. But that's not for us to say or address. All we're saying is that 83.5 billion cedis worth of savings are on the table. This work was done by qualified persons who have a good view of what they are saying. And government did not reject those proposals. The two parties signed the outcome of the work done by the technical committee. So nothing in there is unreasonable. The question is willingness, and the question is whether or not government wants to burden individual bondholders unnecessarily. Simply to say that everybody must take pain, even if you don't have to take pain.
Okay, so in practical terms, the IBHF, Individual Bondholders Forum, say individual bondholders should reject the domestic debt exchange, i.e. don't opt for it. So that means that for those people who are individual bondholders, they can instruct their fund manager or their bank not to go for the exchange. But for those of us who are members of collective investment schemes, I think we are left in a limbo, right? Because we are. What should we do?
Bernard, you are a member of collective investment scheme. You can still tell your money manager, don't add my money to this. If you say yes, don't add my money.
But do I not renege on some of my individual rights by opting for a CIS? Because the very idea of a collective investment scheme is the pooling of resources for the scale.
When you went into the CIS, there was an understanding, there was a contract. You didn't walk in blind.
Yeah.
Yes, so you can insist on your original terms. Remember that everything government is saying that you should offer to government those terms. Mm-hmm. Those terms are not government's offer to you. Mm-hmm. Government is telling you to give it that offer, and it will then accept. So you can simply say, well, I'm not willing to give you that offer. Essentially, government is saying that I have a contract with you, but I want you to tell me to pay you less. And if you tell me to pay you less, I will agree. That is what government is saying. That is the message that the CISs and everyone is sending to individual bondholders, members of CIS schemes, So it lies on you to say, yes, I want to tell government to pay me less. And if you do not wish government to pay you less, just tell your money manager, don't add me to the offer.
So once I do, once I do that, so you're saying I can call my fund manager today and say I do not want my money to be added to the people you are offering for the debt exchange, and therefore I want you to treat my savings with you as a separate one.
Yes, you can.
And they'll be bound to that.
The law allows you to do that. They have to do that. That is the original contract they entered into with you, and they are telling you that government says allow them to give you new terms. And it lies with you to say, no, I don't wish to be given any new terms. There's nothing wrong. Both the Independent Bondholders Forum and IBHAG have said very clearly the quality of what is being offered, the fairness of what is being offered are so unacceptable. Don't take it unless you have individual circumstances that mean that you are willing to just take what is on offer. It's not in your interest. It's absolutely not in your interest.
So let's just push this further before you go. So I've listened to what you are saying, and I'm going to send an email to my fund manager to say I don't want him to take the offer. But will I be left on my own? Or so what if, and I guess this is one of the reasons why people are taking the offer. They are afraid that what if government defaults anyway? What can I do, right?
Government cannot just get up and default. Look, government has given exemptions to certain holders of its bonds. The same bond that you are holding. And the law does not allow it to selectively say, I like Mr. A and Company B, so I will pay them on the old terms, and as for you, I will not pay. If you choose to surrender your bond, you are telling government that change my bond, and government will change your bond and treat you differently. If you choose not to surrender your bond, then once it has made that offer to other people that it will honor, it must honor yours also. You are protected by the law. At least we still have rule of law. So government cannot willy-nilly just decide that I will honor this class of bond to Section A, but I will not honor it to Section B. It cannot do that.
Just another final
point. If you don't accept it, nothing can be done to you unless government says I will not pay all of them. But then it will be a default. And there will be under an IMF program. The question is whether the IMF will clap for them if they default whilst under an IMF program. Because they are a reputation also that
So I take the point. Just finally, will the IBHF be in a position to lead some class action in future if government were to default? Or because one of the problems with this is that individual bondholders working alone may not be able to take on government because not everybody has the appetite or the resources to go to court. But since the IBHF has come together and has been so efficient in its advocacy, is the leadership contemplating that in the event that, because I'm sure most of them are going to say no, as you have recommended, we all say no, and now 6 months down the line, my money is due, government is not paying. Will the forum be in a position to then say, okay, let's jointly sue government as bondholders? What are your thoughts around that?
The question is whether government will break the law. We are not there yet. But you have seen the resolve with which IBF and IBHAG have acted so far. That resolve is unbroken. So if government chooses to break the law, then as citizens, we will advise ourselves. If government does not break the law, then there's no matter to contend. So we wait on government to decide how it wants to conduct its affairs, and then we will respond accordingly.
I noticed you offered, you did a template letter for people who to write to their financial institution to reject the offer if they chose. Will this letter be the same for people in collective investment schemes, or it will be different?
It's the same.
Same letter.
It's the same. You just have to say that my money with you should not be part of the offer.
Wonderful.
You make to government. That's all.
And today is the deadline, so I'll send the letter today.
Oh, please do.
Thank you.
If your circumstances allow you to.
Oh, they allow me to because they offered. I'm buying you 170 cities. They are cheating me. I'm hot, bro.
I heard. I heard. You see, if your money was not at risk, you would not even have worried about 170.
My brother.
You would have said it's God's way of letting you bless that day.
My brother.
But because of all that is happening, my good friend Bernard,
the team pay me wrong.
It's right. It shouldn't happen to you.
Michael, thank you for talking to us. Michael Yamson is an individual bondholder. He's a member of the individual bondholders for Charlie.
But you see, Bernard, in essence, what he's saying is basically to restate a position I had stated, so many weeks back, which is that you have a contract with government that my investment, if it matures, you pay me X amount of money. Government cannot just get up and vary it to your detriment to affect you negatively. No. So you must agree that government, please use my money for a purpose other than that which was originally stated in the contract. If you agree that and government goes ahead, you can't go and say that, oh, what happened to the earlier contract? Because by that, you have in effect changed the original contract, the language, shape, and form or the terms of it. But if you do not agree, then what it means is you have the right to enforce the existing contract or the original contract against the government. So it is your choice to decide whether you want your funds to be part of those funds that will be used to rescue our
But the question that raises is that if there are 100,000 members of a collective investment scheme, doesn't the scheme have to write to us to ask our view before they make a decision with our money?
Of course. I mean, yes.
So I am preemptively going to send an email to them and say, don't add me. But what if somebody does not? Does that? They are silence? Because I'm thinking that the law's position should be that so long as I haven't told you I want a change, unless you get my explicit consent, you can't go and change it. But it seems as if it's the other way around. That if I don't tell you that I don't accept it, then it means you have accepted it.
No, I mean,
do you get me? No, what I'm saying is that
that's why they are sending messages to each and every member of these respective groups. I believe you.
Yeah, but you are not getting me. The message is coming from the bondholders, not from my fund manager.
No, I thought
my fund manager should be.
Banks have done that. Some of the fund managers have
my
done
fund manager should be asking me what I want. They haven't.
They haven't asked you.
No, have they asked you? Let me check. They haven't asked me any question.
You should check your email. Check because I know of people who have received.
Yeah, but that's for individual bondholders who are. You see, there are two groups.
Yes,
there are individual bondholders who have a record with CSD. So that one they will ask you. But if you're a member of a collective investment scheme, a collective investment scheme has like 100,000 people.
Yes.
I don't think they send an email to everybody asking them what they think about this.
Wow. The information I got from some of my guys is that they receive messages.
I have not received an email from my
your fund manager. Wow, that's interesting.
Asking me this specific question. No, I have not.
Wow. And today is the deadline.
Yes, so I'm now going to send an email to them to say, hey, by the way, the thing they are rumoring, please don't add my money to it. That's what he's saying.
As you said, if there's someone who's not getting all this information, what do they do? Does that
so the legal question that raises that I've come to Data Bank or EDC and I've given you 10,000 and you put it in a whatever. Then government is offering a debt exchange. You are the fund manager. You have to make a decision for all of us. So there's a board that makes a decision for the fund.
Yeah, but have they agreed?
That's my point. I don't know. And what would they be? What would be the basis of the agreement? They can't. You see, that's Michael is saying that because when we give them the money, we have a certain understanding of what we will get.
Yeah, that's the contract.
So now, if they want to vary that by accepting the debt exchange, they should come to us.
Yeah,
but they have not.
Yeah, then there's an issue there.
The only thing they did was that when the mark to market happened,
they asked you.
They told us. So I told you I had some money. I think it was like
20,000 Ghana cedis was wiped off.
It was supposed to be 94,000. It came to 74 or something. Some strange thing. And now it was a mark-to-market thing that they did. So now this same money that is left now, if they go and accept the debt exchange, it means that I'm going to get 10% after 5 years.
No.
You know? So I reject that. The other question that this whole thing raises about this is the issue of information.
Yeah, the apparent lack.
See, and one of the things that worries me as a journalist, and I'm happy with Michael because he helped to break this down. And I really feel we need a lot more of such people to explain that, because you see, when somebody is misinformed or uninformed, they are disempowered. Information is power. So you say, hey, yati say, yeah, we then. Yati say, yeah, we then. And I feel we in the media need to help bridge that gap between yati say and what's actually on the ground. Okay, by informing ourselves, by imparting the right people, and not giving voice to only one group of people to push their truth. Because even me with my master's degree, I'm not even sure what to do. Just, I'm not sure. It's only because what he's saying that. Because when I saw the notice from the group, I was like, I'm not even on bond holdout. They said, no, you are part of CIS. And I said, CIS, how is CIS going to talk to all of us? And how are they going to take away my own? So maybe fine, I'm going to write to them and say, look, don't touch my money, leave it there. Go and collect your debt exchange or whatever.
I think there's some failure, if indeed yours didn't happen like that. I think there's some failure on the part of the collective investment, what do you call it, folks, or your data, what do you call it, your
my company.
Yeah, that's right. Because you see, it is their job to get back to you and say that, look, this is the situation with your investment with us. We are being asked to accept A, B, C, and D. What is your comment on it? These are the options that you have. Then you decide, having spoken to your own independent investment people, that okay, you want to be a part of it or you don't want to be a part of it, or you want to liquidate, the entirety of your investments and then move on with whatever you want to do with your life. Now, if they have not done that as you are suggesting, then there's some problem with that, because you cannot be tampering with people's investments without first of all getting their buy-in or input.
So I want to sort of thank the Bondholders Forum for a lot of work they've done. And as a living document, there are 5-page proposal, which incidentally was co-signed by the head of economic policy at the Ministry of Finance. So Michael Samuel Akes co-signed that document. That document that suggested 83 billion CD cuts, 83 billion CD savings. It was jointly done by the bondholders and the Ministry of Finance technical guys. I think that's one of the most thoroughly written things on our economy that I've seen. Very nicely written. I'll give it to you. And they calculate to the last person how much we can get from all the savings. They call it fiscal adjustments. And I need to say a couple of things here. So one of the reasons why the debt exchange has become so painful and annoying is you have a fiscal problem. All right? Your fiscal problem then results in a debt crisis. Do you get my point? So you have a fiscal issue where you spend more than you raise. So your fiscal, it's called a fiscal imbalance. Fiscal policy has to do with government revenue and government expenditure. Revenue from mainly taxes, expenditure from mainly spending on salaries and things. Now that fiscal imbalance has been worsened by borrowing, not originally caused by borrowing. Do you understand? So when you talk about correcting a fiscal problem, debt is just one consequence of the fiscal problem. Do you do what I'm saying? So if you've created a problem where you've spent more than you've raised over years, COVID time, you spent so much money, you didn't raise any money. So you've created a fiscal hole.
Huge, man.
Then to solve it, you can to solve a fiscal, you can do a couple of things. You can do a structural readjustment of the whole economy structure. Or you can do a fiscal readjustment. That's just the numbers. Then you can also do a debt exchange as the third level. Now, structural readjustment is what we did in SAP, where you say the structural economy is not right. We are not adding value. So, for example, in the SAP in 1983, we had too many non-performing state agencies.
Just sell them.
Sell them off. Let them be more profitable. Stop pumping money into these wasteful things. Your government is too large. Reduce the size of government. Don't spend money on projects that will not yield anything. Government was spending money on subsidies that was not yielding anything. Remove all those things and spend money on the productive sector. So that's a general structure, and you can say cut down the number of your ministers, change the design of government, focus on manufacturing as against this. That's a structural adjustment. People will lose jobs, some people will gain jobs. So people went to home. That's why they have PAMS card. So they will reduce. So like if you have a loss-making government agency, you close it down. 200 people will go home, but you're saying it's in benefit of the economy. That's structural adjustment, right? So Ghana has experience of that. Now we are told that this economic crisis we are facing is the worst in 40 years. So we are talking about 1983. 83 we did SAP. Okay. Now, you've not done SAP because SAP is long and difficult and bitter. SAP took us like 7 years because Ibochi is a master of SAP, right? Then you can, okay, if you don't do SAP, do fiscal adjustment, which is what bondholders are saying. Fiscal adjustment is saying, look at your fiscals, tax, VAT. To be fair, they are doing some of the things. They went to some of these shops. They are trying to insist on the VAT being collected. Do things that will raise your revenue. And the guy said you can raise about 5 billion in revenue, 50 billion in revenue, if you do these revenue implementations. And I wish I could get a document and forward it to you. Man, if you can send it back to me. And then they said now cut expenditure. So you have moved from, you haven't done structural adjustment. You haven't done fiscal, and don't forget, a fiscal problem must have a fiscal solution. You can't solve a fiscal problem with a debt solution. And I'm saying that the problem we face is not a debt. The debt crisis is a consequence of a fiscal problem. We put aside the fiscal rule. There was a law that said we couldn't do a certain extent of fiscal deficit. We put that law aside under COVID and we went beyond that. So if you want to solve a fiscal problem, the lead, and I think the IMF agrees with us when we spoke to them in the studio, that the lead solution in a fiscal problem is a fiscal adjustment. You've put that aside and now you've created a debt exchange as the main solution. Send this to me. As the main solution to a fiscal. And I'm saying that doesn't add up to me. Yeah. So the debt could have been one leg. Okay, and then the other question is, what is the size of the hole you are trying to fill? So if the size of the fiscal hole is, say, let's say it's for sake of argument, 50 billion. A $50 billion problem, you can proportionate it and say, I will take 10% of that from structural adjustment. 10 billion structural adjustment, 30 billion fiscal adjustment, 10 billion debt exchange. They haven't told us the size of the hole. They haven't told us. Do you understand? So it's like a moving target, which is why everybody can go and fight for their own rights. And so if the minister says, okay, the size of the fiscal hole that we have to fill in 10 years is this. This is the percentage that we will use debt to solve, the percentage that we will use fiscal adjustment to solve. And do you get me? That's right. And then in terms of the fiscal adjustment, 30% is expenditure, 70% is revenue. Then we all know where we are going. Okay, but you come up with, so initially you said you need 80% uptake. You give us 4 offers. In the first offer, no interest for the next year, and you're going to be paid 10%. Your yield curve is not even rising. You understand? Then people say they don't get it. Then they kept changing. So it creates a question. Is it that you have enough space to maneuver and you are only giving to those who shout the loudest? Because initially banks said they don't agree. They went into a room, they agree. What do you call it? GSI said don't agree. They went into a room, they agree. Insurance said don't agree. So it's like everybody said I don't agree. So those of you who don't have voice, who are not part of, and trust me, the banks are part of the problem. So why? Look, they are the guys who spend all their money buying government bonds. And it's not even by law. They are not lending. Just that. So if you want to save somebody, it's not even the bank who's supposed to be saved first, because he is the one who. Look, what's a bank's job? A bank's job is to take money from those who have excess of it and give it to those who don't have it. Financial intermediation. Banks, and we've reviewed their balance sheet, most of them decided to stop that. They don't lend to any sensible project. What do? They just go and buy government bonds and sit down. They've been part of this scheme that has led to this collapse, and then they are the first people to be saved. How does that make sense? And we innocent people who have made money from our own agriculture, we've done whatever, farming and things, we're going to give money to the bank, then our investment rather should be... So the government must take the first cut. The financial sector itself must suffer. Because we are the people who made it. They don't. What do they do for us? What do they give us? Well, I was interviewing Abena Ponsa. Most proper projects, they need foreign financing. Even Cocoa Board, to get money to do cocoa syndicated loan, you have to go to foreign banks. You go to parliament. Local banks are not giving us shilling. Okay, then they spend all the money to buy government bonds, and they are part of this scheme that is collapsing. Then they are the ones who are now going to meet government and saying we accept the debt exchange. Of course they will. Why wouldn't they? Because they are the part of the problem. We, the guys who are victims, we have no voice. You get me? And this is not right. So the individual bondholders have done a yeoman's job. I wanted you to open the document for me to just give listeners what, yes, here it is. This is what people have done on their own. And permit me to read through some of the points. It's just about 10 points, okay? If you have it, you can read it for me. Mauli just sent it. So final summary. Report, GOG. In fact, read the whole statement.
The whole thing is about
it's longer. Okay, so go to Go to the
fiscal adjustment.
Yes, go to the fiscal adjustment.
Okay, so in the
no, actually, before that, those who did the work: Samuel Akest, Director of TDM, the Ministry of Finance, leader of the government team; Dr. Idrisu Alassan, Director of ESRD, Minister of Finance; Mr. Senyo Hosi, Convener IBF; Mr. David Tete, Convener IBF; Martin Kwebu, Convener IBF; Edouard Anenchi, Convener PBF, as an observer. The Secretariat of the committee had Kwame Gisau, Minister of Finance; Elizabeth Oredu, Minister of Finance; Abdul Fattah Hakim, Minister of Finance. So, Sky, what we are saying is that this is not some back of the envelope work that you and I sat on radio and just wrote. This is work that highly competent people. David Tete is like one of the key guys in the fund, in the capital markets. Edouard Anyenchi is one of the most informed guys in that sector, chartered accountant. Idrisu Alhassan and Samuel Akest are two of the best technocrats government has. Two of our best. They were on Selom's program, Point of View, a few weeks back when Selom was hosting. Now let's go to the fiscal adjustments that they propose. All right. They started with revenue. Can you just read through some for me? So enforce the filing of, do you have it? Enforce the filing of
interest or coupon income on corporate instruments, so ESLA, Dachi, Cocoa bills, as part of personal income tax, and effect the 25% tax related to the income. Alternatively, they should revise the 1% withholding of the related securities to 20% and make it final and deductible at the source. This creates an additional revenue of about 104 million Ghana cedis. For the current fiscal year.
So for the first revenue point A, that could save us 104 million cedis. What's the next one?
B says oil production has dropped from over 200,000
barrels per day
to below 160,000. The revenue loss is more than $300 million, which is about 3.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. The government should, as a matter of urgency, review the regulatory and fiscal environment to encourage existing producers to ramp up production and develop new fields. So they're estimating that will generate about 3.6 billion.
So basically, because we've reduced oil production, we are losing 3.6 billion. So ramp it up. And the oil is there. You will raise 3.6 billion cedis.
Cedis.
Next point.
Next, government should exercise its right under the Acre Petroleum Agreement, that's Deepwater Tunnel, to repossess the block or to compel the immediate commencement or development by the contractor. This field has the potential of delivering up to 100,000 barrels per day, yielding over 5.6 billion Ghana cedis per year to the government.
The timeline for that is a bit dodgy. So even if they decided today, it will take them a few months. But at least the block is there, and they are saying that there's 5.6 billion potential revenue sitting there undeveloped. Move on.
The fourth point is to expedite reforms to enforce property taxes, which we speak about a lot, Bernard. With landed properties of around 2.2 million in Ghana, that's according to the Ghana Population and Housing Census of 2021. We anticipate that achieving an average annual rate of 1,000 Ghana cedis per property at a collection efficiency of 50% will yield the government over 1.1 billion Ghana cedis in revenue.
Very conservative. Very conservative.
Because, I mean, the recent figure we got was in excess of 10 billion, right?
No, but even at 1.1 is okay. 2.2 million houses, 1,000 cedis per property, 50% collection rate, 1 billion cedis.
And in fact, an academic paper I read recently said that even in the Accra metropolis alone, if you were to collect taxes, property taxes efficiently, you should do in excess of 2 billion conservatively.
Okay. Well, next point says rise above politics and fully enforce the VAT invigilation that saw the rise of VAT revenue by 100%, 1,000% in some cases. This assumes a 15% over the 2023 estimated VAT collection of 23.7 billion. So they're saying an additional 3.5 billion Ghana cedis could be raised if they fully.
So when they talk about VAT invigilation, that's what they're doing.
Yes.
And I feel the GRA, wonderful. They've been on TV. And these guys are saying, and you see, the reason I believe this number is that the people in the committee are Ministry of Finance people.
Yeah, they have.
You get me? They are saying they can get 3.5 billion by just enforcing VAT. All right, let's go on.
Next, pursue the recovery of funds lost through financial irregularities of MDAs in the Auditor General's report. So remember the 2015 to 2022, they're saying if you go through those reports alone, we should be able to generate about 13.9 billion Ghana cedis.
So disallow surcharge. Sankoma has said this, Domelevo has done this. This is doable. When the committee meets and looks at the report, if somebody does something he's not supposed to have done, let him pay. Remove from his salary. Let's go on.
Okay. Pursue the recovery of the over 5 billion Ghana cedis tax evasion in the petroleum downstream sector. 5 billion.
Between 2016 and 2021.
Yes.
So that much was lost.
Over a 5-year period.
Exactly. So
tax evasion.
Yeah, that's right.
Just in petroleum downstream.
Yeah, that's right. The petrol people, the ones.
But then these are companies we know.
Yeah.
So this is not like 5 billion cedis.
Including the ones that took the gold for oil or fuel.
And did not give us the windfall.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's point G. There's
Yes.
more.
All right. H. Divest loss-making, defunct, and troubled 17 state-owned enterprises, as identified and announced by Ministry for Public Enterprises. And that should be, if you do that, you could save the state $1 billion Ghana cedis, estimated. Okay. Next, private.
And we know them because there's just sorry to cut you.
It's been identified.
We have SIGA, headed by Edward Boateng. He can easily recommend the 17 SOEs that he believes are non-functional that can be divested if we have to. And the 1 billion is even conservative. They can make a lot more money with better management. Go to point I.
Privatize selected state-owned enterprises to Tier 2 pension funds to drive efficiency and productivity. The government will realize funds from the divestiture with ownership still retained by the workers of Ghana. These state-owned enterprises may include the Electricity Company of Ghana and Ghana RE.
GRE.
Yeah.
Ghana,
yeah.
Ghana Reinsurance.
Reinsurance, yeah.
So if you privatize them, you could get 20 billion. Wow. What's point J?
Review and rationalize the budgets of state-owned enterprises and increase capping of high revenue-generating state-owned enterprises to shore up central government revenue and reduce waste in SOEs.
How much would that save?
$1 billion.
Another 1 billion. Okay. Another one.
The BOST margin should be converted into a levy and channeled into government revenue.
Wow.
BOST is a fully commercial entity and it is untenable to continue to tax the public to fund its activities while it charges commercial rates for its services.
300 million.
Yes.
Then there's a last one.
Revise royalties for new and yet to renegotiate mining leases from the standard 5% to 15%. For example, the payback period for the new lithium mines is less than 5 months with an internal rate of return of 224%. And yet, government royalties is set at 10%.
Look at that. And the estimate is not even given.
It's not even given on how much they could generate from
Now, Kokui, all of this is just on the revenue side, okay? Yes. So I'm just adding this from the top of my head. Sky, you're making noise. 3.6 billion plus 5.6 billion. That's 9.2 billion, right? Then add another 1 billion, so 10.3 billion plus 100, so 10.4 billion plus 3.5, so that's 13.9 billion plus 13.9, 27 plus 5, 32 plus 1, 33 plus 20, 53 plus 1, 54 plus 300,
54.3.
All right. Now let's do expenditure. So on the revenue side, about 54 billion can be raised. We don't know which years.
Yeah.
And this it depends on how serious the government is. It depends on how broke they are. Now I'm thinking if you are a presidential candidate or you are writing a manifesto for next year, this is where your money is. Because this technical work they've done, I'm not sure somebody can do a better job. They are telling you that there's 54 billion of revenue you can raise by being more efficient and being more frugal. Let's come to expenditure.
Okay. So the budget provision for the energy sector shortfall of 23 billion Ghana cedis should be revised downwards by 3 billion Ghana cedis through the reduction of transmission losses, technical losses, and administrative inefficiencies. Effectively implement the energy sector recovery program recommendations.
How much?
Saving us in that sector 3 billion Ghana cedis.
Wow.
Yes.
Energy sector shortfall.
Yes.
Revise it downwards. Reduce transmission loss, technical loss, and administrative inefficiency. You save 3 billion. Let's go on.
Cap the subsidies on the pre-mixed petroleum at 200 million Ghana cedis,
That's all.
thereby reducing the budget by 150 million. Owing to the wanton abuse of this subsidy, provide discount coupons to registered fisherfolk for the purchase of premix.
I saw a story in the Daily Guide today. We spent over 200 and something million on subsidies. If you cap the subsidy at 200 million, you free up 150 million just like that.
Just like that. And there's still issues even with the subsidy.
You know.
And the fisherfolk have said they're willing to pay a bit more if it'll be more efficient. So
150 million just saved right there.
Yeah. Maintain the 2022 capital expenditure level by reducing the ABFA, MDA, and foreign finance capital expenditure provisions by 50%. That will save 10.7 billion.
So let me explain this.
Yeah.
2023, they had a different capex plan. They are saying you don't have enough money. Just maintain the level of capital expenditure you planned for this year for the same as last year. And they are saying reduce the non-ABFA part. So annual budget funding amount is that one. Reduce that one and the foreign finance one by 50%. That frees up 10.7 billion in expenditure. So this is not even like any wild financial engineering, right? 10.7 billion right there. And I insist, this thing was done with people who do the. So you see, this was not done by Bernard and Goffred sitting behind some laptop. Arkhurst and Al Hassan were part of this work.
But then Bernard, so when
and I'm saying that these two guys, one is in charge of debt, one is in charge of macroeconomic policy at the Ministry of Finance. So they are the two of the most technically competent people we have in the ministry, and they signed off to this, which means it can be done. That's what I'm saying. What they did is not like, and it's not like Senyo and Pegu and Co went to give them this and force them on. They set up a committee. They had a secretariat which included 3 people in the Ministry of Finance, and they wrote this.
Are these the same people who have been there overseeing our
so you need to
financial?
So you probably need to ask. No.
Or at least being
No. You need to clarify between the technocrats at the ministry and the politicians. Because this is a technical work they've done, and they've signed on to it.
So, but don't the politicians rely on our technocrats on a daily basis? Aren't they supposed to?
When it serves their interest, they do. When it doesn't, they don't.
Because if you have this kind of expertise, then we shouldn't be in this kind of a problem.
Let me tell you something. If you listen very carefully to the announcement of Ghana going for IMF, notice there was an audio that was brought out where Mr. Akes was speaking to some people and talking about Ghana's true debt position. It is believed that he had made a submission to the highest levels of government for them to then say, look, the president has to make a decision on IMF, because the position on IMF prior to that meeting was that we're not going. But after that presentation, and part of which was leaked, was where he showed the true. So the point is, if you leave the technocrats to what was within their power, they will show you the truth of the economy. So my point is that these suggestions are signed off by Ministry of Finance technocrats, including guys who do budgets. Quickly go on.
Reduce transfers to statutory funds, except for the District Assembly Common Fund, NHF, and Get Fund. Okay. The transfers to all other statutory funds should be reduced significantly from the 15% of tax revenues approved in the 2023 budget to 10%. Special focus may be placed on GNPC, Ghana Exim Bank, and the Minerals and Income Investment Fund. And that should save about 7 billion Ghana cedis.
So think about that. Reduce transfers to statutory funds except DACF, NHF, and Get Fund. The transfers to all other statutories should be significantly reduced from the 15% of tax revenue in this budget to just 10%. So just by 5% reduction, by admitting that. And think about it too. You say we are broke, so monies that we have invested for 20 years, we won't get it back. And yet in your budget, you are raising how much you want to spend from last year to this year. I mean, how? If you are in a situation that is so dire, why are you not even maintaining 2022 levels of spending? And they are saying that if you just maintain statutory funds to the 2022 levels, you are going to save 7 billion. Yet you want to take my savings to do that? Come on. Let's go on.
Review and right-size MDAs and SOEs, or state-owned enterprises, to maintain compensation expenses equivalent to 2022. This should include drastically reducing the number of MDAs, ministers, and staff at the Office of Government Machinery, for example, presidential staffers. Now, if you do this and resize or downsize, you'll save the country 6.5 billion Ghana cedis.
Wow.
According to this. Okay.
Go on.
Finally, review the Free SHS program to make it more efficient through effective targeting and allow parents who can pay to do so. Beneficiaries should be students that patronize senior high schools in their communities, whilst other students should pay for boarding. However, the government can pay for students who do not have senior secondary schools in their communities. If you review Free SHS, you'll save 1 billion Ghana cedis, according to this.
Now, if you added up the amounts on the expenditure side, so 1 billion Free SHS, 6.5 for MDAs, that's 7.5, added to 7, 14.5, added to 10.7, 24.
Everything came to 83.5 billion.
Yeah, but I'm 25 plus 150, and now 25, 26, 28, added to the 53, 80 billion. Let's read the conclusion.
The conclusion, yeah.
No, there are other recommendations.
There are.
So read it. The measures proposed above
Yes. Per the estimation of the IBF yield net savings of 83.5 billion Ghana cedis. The IBF holds the position that the above recommendations are competent enough to urgently address the fiscal challenges and enable us to reach the desired 55% debt to GDP target proposed to the IMF. Now, other recommendations are A. Lend the $900 million Ghana Heritage Funds to the Bank of Ghana to shore up the reserves. B. Restructure the Fiscal Council to include a creditors committee made of representatives from all investor classes in Government of Ghana local bonds and empower the council to be an enforcing and binding institution and not just an advisory body. This may be key to ensuring and sustaining the fiscal discipline required to realize our debt sustainability.
Okay, so let me explain something quickly. You know, the Heritage Fund was one of the key things that underpinned our conversation on how we would use our petroleum resources or the crude oil resources and the gas resources from the western region and other parts of the country. So one of the views that was taken at the time was that, look, we can't eat everything now. Let's invest some or keep some for future generations. So that was how come the whole Heritage Fund came. Now, it would seem that we have in excess of $900 million US dollars sitting there, in that account. Now, what these guys are saying is that we should lend that money because there's a liquidity challenge, forex issues. So we should send that money to the Bank of Ghana, lend it to them. So perhaps we'll take it back. The issue would be whether if we do that, we will take it back. And what will happen if we don't take it back and future generations...
Now, this being depleted.
Exactly.
For them.
So while it would seem a very reasonable proposal, it would seem that maybe future generations will not forgive us if we were to use that money now. And knowing Ghana, how we behave, we eat the money and we don't bring it back.
Other ways in which you can take revenue. Ghana's extractive sector revenue as a ratio of extractive sector value add is at 19.3%. Now, the average for middle-income countries is 54%, and now we get 19%. Now, the average for African countries is 50%. So we are not even getting the right revenue from the extractives. Think about that. The extractive sector revenue as a ratio of extractive sector value addition, the average in Africa is 50.9. We take 19.3. So there's so much to do. Tax revenue percent of GDP, 13.3%. Lesotho is in the 30s. Mauritania, Congo, Eswatini, Cote d'Ivoire are all above Ghana. There's so much work we need to do. And I feel the DSA is almost like a cop-out. Right? Even though debt operation is inevitable, as a ratio of the overall adjustment, the debt side is too big. Okay? So the road to sustainability must have three legs. And this is Prophet Bokwen. We were at our program last week. He said, to reach sustainability, you need three things: fiscal adjustment, debt restructuring, and structural adjustment. And he says, for now, everything is on debt restructuring. That's not right. There must also be structural adjustment and fiscal adjustment. And the fiscal adjustment is just what you read, 83 billion. So,
but under observations for this report, so it says the government team, whilst amenable to some of the proposals and recommendations from the Individual Bondholders Forum, stressed the complexities with implementation, right? Given that some revenue or expenditure measures are of a medium-term nature and are being considered by the government as part of its structural reform agenda and medium-term domestic revenue mobilization strategy. So they're saying that for some of the proposals, they really can't implement them because it will affect the plans that they have put in place for the medium term. However, any proposal that can be implemented immediately should be considered towards a speedy resolution of the current economic crisis.
And then the overall conclusion, they say what? The technical committee emphasizes the need for continued engagement between the government of Ghana and IBF on the debt exchange program, as well as the government's structural reforms to ensure macroeconomic stability and promote economic recovery, and on the feasibility of the proposed measures.
Let me read what Gopin said in his presentation. He says, restoring debt sustainability requires at least a fair and equitable adjustment within the triangle of fiscal adjustment, structural adjustment, and debt restructuring. Delivering a primary surplus of up to 12% of GDP for the next 5 years is too much for the fiscal side alone, hence the need for structural reform and debt operation. But the fiscal side of the triangle is offering too little on the table, and therefore the focus is now on the debt operation, while structural reform is mute. Considerable room exists for expenditure-based fiscal adjustment to lessen the burden on creditors. This is what Dr. Poppin concluded in his presentation. And I agree with him. We'll be back with more Citi Breakfast Show on 97.3 Citi FM. I'm still getting people sending me, comments about my fuel situation. And somebody says they're going to send me 170 CDs.
To refund you on behalf of the lady.
So well.
Yeah.
No, we don't want.
What I would have asked people to do on a different day was to tell me where I should buy the fuel now.
Oh.
The best fuel station. Not brand as the best fuel station.
Some no day.
Oh, someday.
Some no day. Everybody does something on a certain day.
No, I think
someday.
I think you're painting them with a broad
the fact that there is the fact that there is bad fuel attendants means that there are also good ones, and they are very good ones.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that you cannot say which station. Hold on. You cannot guarantee that everybody who works at that station is good. So the day that you might get a good attendant, the following day I might not get a good attendant.
Experience.
You see? If for all you know, if you had mentioned the station, you'd be surprised that you might be the only person who's had bad service from the station.
No, I've mentioned the station privately to people, and some have confirmed that. At
that particular station.
Yes. Privately, some people say,
we need to.
And I won't put it on air because it's not fair. But I'm saying that the people who have WhatsApp me and I've told them, some of them say, I lost it. But these people, not say what they did.
But if you were any
other station, used that road before. I don't think you tell me to use that road today.
It's okay. The thing happened. Let's move on. Let's move on. Leave them.
You see, Bernard, the thing is, the truth is a defense for defamation or libel. So if what you are saying is...
I don't want to... I'm not saying... What I'm saying is that, you see, don't forget that these are franchises.
Yes.
So let's assume you have Citi FM in 10 regions. And then one Citi FM does something, go and mention it. Affects the whole brand. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So I just feel it's not necessary.
Yeah, but
and I also don't want to use the power of my show to fight my own personal
you see, we have redefined the whole concept of radio shows in the morning.
I know.
And we have personalized it to a large extent.
Have to be
your experience is somebody else's experience.
But
I'm not pushing
it's
you
my
to
personal
mention.
choice.
That's okay. I am not going to dispute that. What I'm saying is that sometimes it helps a lot if we're able to name and shame. Because if it is the case that people have had this experience, for how long?
To be fair, MPA has reached out to me and I've spoken to MPA.
That's good.
So MPA will go there.
They'll go and inspect.
Yes. Okay. But the reputation, we have to be responsible. It's not my personal situation I'll come and put on.
No, it is. You see, what I'm saying is that you are you personify other people's experience.
So let MPA work. If MPA doesn't do it, so the last resort is naming and shaming. So now we name and shame for the authorities first. If the authorities fail to act, then we'll come on there and we say, now we'll throw X in your face.
Shouldn't MPA have like a hotline pasted
on
every
MPA
station?
Reached out this morning. I get the location of the station. They said they will go and visit them today.
I feel like they should
have MPA they come.
But why are you
giving
them notice?
No, but I don't listen to the radio. That's the worst part. If they even listen to Citi Bank, I'll forgive them.
By now somebody would have
played some music.
I think there should be an MPA hotline.
With music, super scary. Hi, Shatawale, I come like a kite. Hi.
corporate communications, IT, information technology management, cybersecurity project management, or digital marketing. Now, admissions are open for undergraduate and graduate programs. Apply now to enroll for our March 2023 entry and get up to 40% of tuition. Now, call Webster 0540 120 849. That's 0540 120 849, or visit webster.edu.gh.
And losing a loved one stops you in your tracks and leaves you shaken. In those trying times, you can count on us. Over the past 21 years, Lashibi Funeral Homes and Crematorium has had your back when you needed it most. From picking up your loved one through to the burial or cremation and funeral receptions, Lashibi Funeral Homes and Crematorium will guide you through the unfamiliar territory of selecting products and services you will need to ensure your loved one has a fitting send-off. We'll take great care of your needs and give your loved one a dignified farewell. Contact us on 0509 542 409 or email info@lashibifuneralhomes.com. Lashibi Funeral Homes and Crematorium. Dignity for the deceased, comfort for the bereaved.
All right, so let's get into a conversation. Grohe, is that it's pronounced, is a leading global brand for bathroom, sanitary, and kitchen products and accessories. Now, November in 2021, under the Grohe Installer Vocational Training and Education initiative called GIVE, the company established a state-of-the-art facility in Accra to train plumbers and installers of their products to address the shortfall of skilled practitioners in the industry. Now, the facility is based at ATTC, Accra Technical Training College, and was set up in collaboration with the German Chamber of Commerce and other partners. So I remember in November we had a chat with Chris Penny. He's the guy at Grohe. He's back in Ghana. Have you always been in Ghana?
Have I always been in Ghana?
Yeah.
No, I went home.
And came back?
Yeah, came back, yeah.
Wonderful. So remind us of what the GIFT program is about. What did Grohe establish, or why did you establish the GIFT program?
Of course, yeah. Firstly, thank you for having me back. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
The GIFT program stands for Grower Installer Vocational Training and Education.
Nice.
And we established it for many reasons, really. First of all, there is a huge shortage of trained technicians all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And as a leader in this industry, we need to make sure that we support its development so that our customers get the best out of our products and they're also installed correctly. Secondly, the project has a very direct social impact in changing the lives of young people, giving them important skills to improve their lives, especially those from lesser communities, maybe don't have the privileges that other children have. And also we want to make the training for plumbers fun.
I like that.
And one other thing is obviously water stress. It's rising energy bills. Plumbing becomes a key element in our daily lives, and we want to help these professional people to be better at their jobs.
How different has this project been from regular plumbing training facilities?
Sorry, say again?
How different has this project been from regular plumbing training facilities?
So we collaborate with plumbing schools across the EMENA region, so Europe, the Middle East and Northwest Africa.
Okay.
And we build training facilities within these schools, state-of-the-art facilities. So we build a 6-meter training rack into the school, and that has a fully functioning working water, so hot water, cold water and wastewater. So that's one of the biggest learning curves for a plumber or an installer. When they put something in or install it and it doesn't work properly, then they get really wet. So that's why we have the working water, because it's the best learning curve.
Working water, I like that.
Yeah.
So how exactly does the GIFT program run?
So we train, young students. So if you're a plumbing student at ATTC in Ghana, so you're learning to be a plumber or an installer. Once you've been qualified for that and you've passed that training, we will then teach you how to install and maintain grower products that we have on our training racks.
Nice.
We have 8 different modules around 8 different products. We also have a written and a practical examination. And when the students have passed their exams and their training, which they're doing at the moment, so my colleague has been here for 2 weeks already, Manfred. He's been at ATTC since the last week of January. And he's been training 50 students. And then today, tomorrow, and Thursday, they will do their theoretical written exams. They've already done their practical examinations. And on Friday, we will have a graduation ceremony.
Wow.
Hopefully for 50 students that have passed passed all their training.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the cost of the training and how easy is it to enroll?
So, as I mentioned, we collaborate with ATTC. So you would have to enroll on a plumbing course with them. I don't know what the cost of that is.
Okay.
That's not, unfortunately, that's something I can't control. But once you've passed the training with them and you want to do the training for grower, so you want to take part in the GIVE program, that's completely free.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you started with 20. You said 50 potentially are graduating on Friday. What's been the impact so far of the GIVE program?
For me, it's been fantastic. I mean, we set up this program in April 2020, so it's very much in its infancy. We started off where we had 26 schools across Europe and the Middle East, which we had varying collaborations with. So when I say varying collaborations, we provide currently now a 6-meter training rack. We provide all the branding equipment. We provide workbooks. We provide certification. We do the examinations. We're working with a recruitment consultant in Europe at the moment and we're piloting how we can offer careers advice to students that have passed our training, how we can help them to find a job with writing a CV or a cover letter, interview techniques, social media techniques, how they can maybe set up their own businesses. And before, when we had 26 collaborations with schools across Europe, we had maybe a tap and a sink in the corner or a toilet on a frame or a tap that was not connected to anything. And that was a collaboration with a school. So from my perspective, what we've done with GIVE is we've taken that to another level. And now we're working with 57 schools. When I go back to the UK on Saturday, I then go to Hungary next week where I'll open the 60th GIVE program school for grower. And they've all got the 6-meter training racks. They've all got the branding. They've all got access to exams and the workbooks. So, the impact has been huge, I think.
Fantastic. So in Ghana, do you have any plans to extend this beyond Accra?
Yes, we do. I'm also here this week to see you guys. We have some more TV interviews as well to do this week. Nice. It's good. And the graduation ceremony, but also I'm planning to meet some other technical training schools whilst we're here. They're coming to a meeting with us on Wednesday, so we can talk about other technical schools that we have within not within Accra, sorry, within Ghana.
Sustainability is one of your core pillars, right? Now, how does the GIVE program address this important global issue of sustainability?
It's training plumbers basically on the use of our innovative products ensures that they understand current environmental issues, mainly water stress and the importance of water conservation. So further than that, the program is a crucial part of the implementation of Lixil's sustainability strategy. So Lixil is our mother company, I suppose. So Lixil is our Japanese company that owns the grower brand. And obviously one of our pillars is sanitation and hygiene at a global level. So that's kind of why why we see it, where it sits for us.
Plans for Ghana and Africa in general?
Yeah. As I said, we've got 60 schools we'll have by the end of next week.
Wow.
We have schools in Morocco. I have schools in France, Lithuania, Poland, Ghana, Nigeria. I will be opening in May a school in Cameroon, which is with a charitable organisation called Don Bosco Mondo. And then in June, we will open a school in Benin with a charitable organisation called SOS Children's Villages. So this is a completely different setup now. So previously, we'd collaborated with schools where you would learn existing plumbing skills and training to be a plumber. At SOS, we're actually going into an orphanage or a children's village for underprivileged children. And we're actually going to set up the training facility in like the town hall, the village hall. And we're going to teach basic plumbing skills. Okay. We're going to make our own course and teach them basic plumbing skills and how to bend pipe, how to connect the pipes to the taps.
So all these schools you mentioned in these countries all work around the GIVE program. This is under the GIVE, or the GIVE is just particular to Ghana?
No. So the GIFT program.
The GIFT program is the training.
Yeah, is the training. It's the global. Training. The GIFT program is the global. The approach. Yeah, the CSR approach. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah.
I was just thinking, just as an aside. So like, vocational skills. We talk about that a lot, but we don't seem to spend a lot of money on technical vocational skills. When I was living in the UK, plumbers were very difficult to come by and were very well paid. But here they are seen to be like a menial job, and we don't seem to accord the same level of respect. What are we missing?
Possibly the link to the products, maybe, and the clean water, the fresh water. Maybe that might be one of the biggest problems. But also the way some of it's installed and the lack of training, probably. Yes, plumbers are hard to come by in Europe and the UK, and they are
very expensive.
Very expensive, yeah. And I think that if we can improve the training levels here and improve potentially the sanitation levels here as well, then maybe we can get to that.
So then the potential for that industry is massive.
Exactly.
Because we are still building houses, and we are having to have more sophisticated bathroom. Yeah. I mean, again, in advanced countries, you have a boiler. If the system goes off, you are in trouble. The weather is very cold. Here, a lot of people can still just bath outside, right? Just carry a bucket of water and go and bath. So as architecture and buildings become more modern, the plumber is going to become more important as well.
Exactly.
But before you go, the Grow Hub brand, is it available in Ghana? Just asking.
It is, yes. We have a distributor here in Ghana, a company called High Flow.
Okay.
I think they're on the Spintex Road.
Okay.
So they will they cover all our range of products, and I think they're
which include what?
So we manufacture taps, shower systems, toilets, sinks, kitchen equipment for kitchen taps. We have I'm not sure if they're available here. But we have two taps that are really cool in the kitchen department. One of them is called the Grower Red, and it gives you instant boiling hot water from the tap. So there's a boiler under your sink. And we also have one called the Grower Blue, which gives you chilled, filtered, and sparkling water straight from the tap as well.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. I don't know whether it's available.
Sparkling as well?
Sparkling water straight from the tap.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Chilled sparkling water.
You are obviously a high-end brand.
Yeah.
And we also have a toilet which has a bidet built into it as well.
Oh.
So it's like a
bidet.
A bidet.
What's that?
To wash
it washes your
after you've been
nether
to the
region.
toilet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's called the Sensia Arena. You should check that one out. It's really cool.
Available in Ghana?
Possibly, yeah, because it's on the training rack at ATTC.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you could do people like sample it?
It has a remote control, so you can press the buttons and it
oh Lord!
It's the spray. It also has an air dryer on there, so it dries you.
Air dryer.
Yeah.
Oh come on!
It dries you as well.
Stop it! It has an air dryer.
So you wash it.
Oh Lord, this is amazing.
Exactly.
Chris, thanks a lot. This is amazing. Look, if I don't know, it's just a fine question. If you want to sign up for the program, do you have to go to ATTC and be enrolled, or can you go online and apply? How do you sign up?
I think that the best way for people to apply to do the GIFT program training would be to go and enroll on a plumbing course at ATTC, which is what we said before. And then off the back of that, they would do their training, and then they would be able to do the GIFT program training and learn about grower products. But we also have a website, which is give.grower.com. So that's give.grower, which is GROHE.com.
That sounds German.
Yeah,
it's very German, yeah.
I have one last question.
All right.
So if I hire a plumber, is there anything they have that shows that they are GIFT trained, or any kind of?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Okay. We after they've passed their exams, we give them an internationally recognised certificate.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which will hopefully stand them in a better position when they go to get a job as an installer.
Yeah.
But also, once we've piloted the careers advice service that we're looking at as well, we hope to give them a much better chance of getting a job, helping them write cover letters, helping them write a CV, giving them interview technique training. So these are all the things that we're looking at doing.
Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. Always good talking to you. All roads lead to ATTC on Friday for their graduation. And as they said, apply to ATTC, be part of their plumbing course, and you can become part of the GIFT cohort in Ghana. I want to get the red one.
You need the bidet.
The bidet. station
Mm-hmm.
or the best fuel attendant?
That one, dear, it's very subjective. I mean, there's no
But my
way.
problem is subjective. Everything is subjective.
Yeah. So somebody's best is somebody's worst.
The whole show has been subjective.
The one that you went to that you had experience, somebody will also say, "Hey, that's their go-to."
Nobody will say that they're best. I can assure you that. Nobody.
Oh, Bernardino. Listen, okay. Well, Kobe in Adenta says, Bernard, there's a saying: the angel you know and the angel you don't know, they all know you. Hey, this one. Please, I'm going to buy fuel this morning. Let me know which outlet you bought from, so I do the biblical principle of the Passover.
We are not in the same area, so you'll not even use my place.
Well, for all you know, he's passing somewhere.
You know the worst part. The thing is, today I used the wrong route. Every day, look, I don't know. Could be, I never use this route too. And today I was like, because my fuel is low and my regular route there isn't the fuel station. Let me use this route.
It happens, Bernardino. It happens. Okay, Bernard. Next time, buy your fuel in liters. The servers fear buyers requesting in liters. Are you sure? I mean, it doesn't make a difference. Liters or amount is the same. Anyway, Bernard and Godfred, I've always bought fuel from the big names, but now I buy from, and he mentions another station, which I think is also a big name. But anyway, because their prices are lower and I'm certain of the quality of fuel. Accra make hot, so we have to look sharp. Okay. Bernard, those of us whose investments matured yesterday, February 6, 2023, but were not paid, what do we do? This is Prosper in Dowinya. Daniel says, how do our individual bondholders supposed to express their choice of joining the DDEP or not? And if you don't respond, does that mean you're choosing to partake?
Hey, actually, good point. A couple of fund managers have sent me a message saying that, Michael said I could write to my fund manager and say I wanted to opt out.
Yes.
And they're saying, well, the mechanics of a collective investment scheme will not permit this suggestion. At best, if all members write to their board, the board can take a decision on behalf of all. Okay. So a majority and the board decision will be carried. So maybe they should ask us to vote.
Which is why the individual bondholders have a bit more of a voice.
So if I remember, they are claiming it's not going to work. I really don't know.
You'd have to put pressure on the board. Then the board could speak for you. Okay. Bernardino, this is somebody who also said he wanted to send a letter to his fund manager. Bernard, even if we put...
but the template, we can share the template. I think, I'll put it on my WhatsApp platform or something. Senyo and Co shared it. The letter you should write,
Yeah. He said, even those of us put in the amalgamated fund from the financial sector cleanup 2 years ago have had nothing. If you go to GCB Capital, they have nothing to tell you. So this is someone who's talking about the cleanup that was done a few years ago and they were supposed to have gotten their money. They haven't gotten it. Okay. Bernard, if you want to understand what's going on with this bond thing, please watch these movies. 1, The Big Short, and 2, Margin Call. Okay?
Okay, let me try.
The Big Short is a bit different in that concept. Margin Call, but the Big Short is...
movie.
Yeah.
What was The Big Short about?
The Big Short...
about short selling.
Yeah, looked at the Lehman Brothers fall.
Yeah, but you can learn something from that.
I didn't say you cannot. With the relation to
maybe I think we just want to talk about the fragility of the capital markets and the whatever.
Okay. Bernard, this is Eric. I'm currently in Japan. Charlie, I have the toilet your guest is talking about. It did be, Papa.
The one with the bidet. But I think the Japs are very
particular about that, right?
about their toilets.
They did a joke with them, crowd.
Yeah. Okay. Bernard, good morning. Please, what's the name of the training program
It's called
again?
GIVE, G-I-V-E. Yeah. If you want to do the program, go to ATTC.
Nana Yawentema sent that. Bernard, we've collapsed all our technical schools. In Ghana, everything is a university.
I was going to say, if you have a relative, a child, a cousin, a niece, nephew who's inclined in that area, encourage them to go to ATTC or EMIT or any of these things and get them into these kind of programs. Because when I see how the building environment, the construction industry is developing, plumbing is going to be one of the most key. Like if you're building a house here, you can get a painter anywhere. Carpenters are many, but actually to get a good plumber is a specialized skill. So if they're going to be training people to do plumbing, I think we should go for it.
Yeah, have you realized these days that a lot of plumbing work that is done, especially in like these newly constructed, super expensive townhouses, whatever.
Yeah.
After a year or two, you start seeing like
cracks and moisture damp from the ceilings, like where the
pipes have been laid, because a lot of the plumbers don't know how to lay the pipes.
Yeah, which is why this training program is good.
Important.
Yeah, stuff like that is really, really.
Okay.
Let me also tell you the story about this technical cheating thing you're talking about, and how we don't have a lot of mechanics who can fix the kind of cars we are driving.
That's a whole topic.
You know,
That's
a lot of the
topic.
cars that are coming into the system, the mechanics we have or the fitters we have. So in Dansuman, there is like this Range Rover shop, but that if you open they open the gate to the shop, the cars are just there.
Yeah.
You can count like 40 or 50 Range
so
Rovers.
many of them.
They are just there. And there was one thing, this one is funny. So this friend of mine, push to start engine.
Yes.
Right? And he takes it to his guy. And the guy says he needs to remove the ignition.
Look at that. There's he doesn't even know PTC.
You see, the problem, should I say it's even a problem? The actual like licensed certified dealerships have mechanics who are trained for it, right? But it costs an arm and a leg. So people are discouraged from going there.
And you know, the things I mentioned to say, the market, like Ghana is one of the largest importers of cars. The market for highly skilled fitters is there, plumbers. Look, I've never met a plumber who said he was unemployed.
No.
So, and if I look at the number of people coming into JSS, free SHS, let's do technical education. Let's do vocation. Let's solve our problems.
But there's always plumbing work to be done.
Always.
Always. I look at my house budget. Almost every month, you need one of the four: a plumber,
a carpenter,
an electrician, or something. One of those four people: plumber, carpenter, electrician, or like a metal worker or something, or a TV installer.
Even a mason sometimes.
You know, so that's where the future is. That's where the money is. People can work with their hands. Anyway,
but we don't respect it.
All right. You know what I wanted to say was that the number of like submissions I've received on how not to get cheated at fuel stations. It's just a whole show. Like somebody's even like 6 pages of what to do. Like, let me read one.
Before I can buy fuel?
No, like things you should know.
Okay, tell me.
Let me read this one from Enoch.
Tell me what Enoch.
Good morning, Bernard.
Morning.
I trust you're doing well.
Yes.
I listened to your fuel station experience this morning and I wish to make the following contribution. 1, the car fuel tank vis-a-vis the gauge fuel pump installation. 2, the fuel station pump calibration and reset after previous service. So this is point 1 and 2. So elaborate on point 1. The car fuel tank vis-a-vis the gauge fuel. And this guy is an engineer. He did mechanical engineering at Tech. The fuel gauge and pump are mostly installed midway of the tank and the level sensor moves between a very low level for empty, but not the base of the tank to a very high level for full, but not for the brim. So when the level sensor indicates that the tank is empty, it's actually not empty, but that there is a little more fuel at the base of the tank. And when one drives on that level, the gauge doesn't read how much fuel is consumed beyond that point. Similarly, when the gauge shows that the tank is full, there's still some space in the tank. The reason why some commercial drivers are seen shaking their vehicle to admit more. B, many fuel tanks are also shaped in a way that the base is wider than the top. It is possible that the tank was almost dry at the... It's possible that the tank... The message just keeps coming. Was almost dry at the time of refueling and the fuel bot spread at the base of the tank in a way that did not reach the sensor of the dial. But Charlie 170 the harbor. C, there might be a mechanical problem with the operation of the gauge. The gauge's dial may get stuck in some cases. Godfrey check, there was no stuck. You went to check, right? To confirm, fill the tank and see if the gauge will indicate full and also know the amount of additional fuel bought to get the tank full. Hey, we don't go and dance for them to fill our tank, we pay money. 2, the fuel station pump calibration and reset after previous service. A, it is possible that the fuel station attendant did not reset the dispenser to 0, but continued to dispense your fuel from a previous sale, in which case a little would be added to yours. This is the point Mauli was making. B, it is possible that the fuel station dispenser is not well calibrated and is dispensing less fuel than expected. Every fuel station is required to keep a calibration verification can at the station. If anyone is in doubt of the amount of money fuel dispensed, they can request the station dispensing the can to verify. Caution: don't leave your engine running while fueling. Don't let the fuel get to empty before refueling. Always pay attention when being served at the station. Thank you for the thesis, Enoch. I appreciate the comment. We gave it to God, and man has responded by giving us money.
Oh, you got money?
Somebody sent me 170. Another person sent
Charlie,
me
he's
1,000.
getting money.
So the testimony of the day is that
But the thousand over check.
No, so apparently no.
But my gauge is blinking.
The committee apparently no. Because I said I fill my tank with 600. Somebody said I actually need about 800 to fill the tank. So today I'm going to fill the tank and I'm going to shake the car and I'll fill it again.
But the good news is we know exactly how much it costs to fill. It's 860.
Yes.
Now you have 1,170. So give me the rest to also fill mine.
No.
Oh, we went to investigate.
You were laughing at me.
I wasn't laughing at you. You know you're my brother. You're laughing at you.
You're laughing at me.
I don't have Momo, but you give me some points.
But you don't have it.
Shall you are doing this?
me, I've been bought. I did drive V8.
The fact that I drive a V8 does not mean you shouldn't give me the money to go and buy the fuel.
No. And you can only do one full. You know, if I was driving your car, the 170 would have been the case. So my car, the 170.
I'm expecting 140 Ghana plus 170 Ghana from you this morning.
But you know, I heard something which is
rough.
It's different from Famenyame. Somebody said, Bernard, if you are not cheated, how will God reward you? So sometimes the reward for cheating is the 1,170 I got. So
out of which I'm also going to get a share.
You don't get anything. Please, thanks for listening. AJ is back with a lot more.
Why are people falling?
Now let me explain. AJ's show in the Valentine's season, you can send messages to people you love to tell them you love them and that they mean so much to you or they should forgive you for something you've done. Just make sure the person you're sending a message to knows that you are their one and only. You know? So you must have a good understanding so there's no misunderstanding.
I was happy somebody hung up on her. I was very happy.
So AJ Akwakusapon is back on your dial from now till 12. Caleb Kuda is also here with a nice African top.
Yes.
How much does it cost to fill your tank?
Bernard, it's a problem. It's a big problem. I've been doing 50 Ghana, 100.
Now, the way I see your nose is shaking. Don't go and put me on the show. You know, this guy, Caleb, I'm speaking to you as your boss.
No, Bernard, our problem is different.
And I am warning you not to feature me on...
No. Our problems are
on the back page. I know you.
But you're okay. Me, my concern is that when I buy bank, you have to buy okra. Yes.
They don't sell it together again.
No.
So they sell this.
I was shocked. $1 3 CDs. Hey. How that's not possible?
Hey, Charlie, this country.
How is that possible?
Charlie, let's have the news.
Coming up in the news, Ghanaian footballer Christian Atsu rescued after he was trapped under rubble in a huge earthquake at